Yep.
Yeah, yeah, I'm here, bro. That was weird, bro.
Yeah, that was some hating going on. I don't know what that was all about.
Yeah, that was something weird. Somebody put a report or something out, something stupid. Had to. There's no reason why we just the only one that froze on YouTube.
Yeah, I thought it
That's
was.
crazy.
I thought it was the.
I thought my Wi-Fi went out. I was like, okay, I'm just
Yeah,
going to ignore this. I was like, I'm just going to ignore this. We still cooking. And
I'm
then,
saying that was
go
crazy,
ahead.
man. Shout out to anybody who's back in the building. That was crazy. I don't know. Maybe we shook something up on the algorithm. Maybe they got upset with us. Maybe we were talking too much about something bad. I don't know. The bag got put out on our head. But shout out to you guys if you're still in the building. I don't know how long it's gonna take people to come back in here. That's crazy, man. It was a good build going on, but
Yeah,
yeah,
listen, I love the fan base. I love the responses. All that's dope, man. This is great. Listen, shout out to these guys, man. I mean, T. Orlando, we already know how T. Orlando is. That's our boy. We know how he is. He come in here to play a little Minecraft. You know what I
it is
mean?
what it is. It is what it is,
You know what I
bro. You know what
mean?
I'm
That is the game, right? Minecraft. Yeah, he play a little Minecraft, so we get that. But I like
saying? Mic check.
Bub. I
Mike.
hear you. Oh, I don't see
No, we
nobody in the
good,
chat
yo.
yet.
Y'all say what's up in the chat if y'all in the building. We got 7 people. Hopefully everybody gets back in here and we can continue this build, man. It was good. Teach. What happened? Yo, I don't know, Teach. It just went left. Like, I don't know. It literally just kicked us. I don't know, bro. It is what it is. You know what I mean? It was it was interesting. You know what I'm saying? It was interesting to say the least. But we was building on a real topic, and like I said, the real topic, in my opinion, was just that the boxing is growing, bro. It's moving, it's doing things. We seeing better, we seeing matchups come up, especially in 135 pounds. You got Abdullah Mason. Thank you, Hannibal. Thank you. We got Abdullah Mason coming up. Floyd Schofield had his little performance the week before last. We've got Keyshawn Davis doing what he's doing. We got fighters who look like they're going to be willing to fight each other at some point in time. It's going to be interesting to see how the whole Tank Davis situations unfolds. We don't know what the holdup is, right? The holdup between him and Lamont Roach, or even with the PBC's campaign of fights this year and how they looked. There is a fear, though, and there is a fear or FOMO, a fear of missing out on some of the best fights that should include Tank Davis in the fights. But it is what it is. At some point in time, we all have to be honest about what we're looking at. And just sitting here beating a dead horse ain't going to get us nowhere. What's going on here? Y'all sound good. Respect to Devin fighting the best. I hope we get that fight. Teach Devin and T.O. fighting the best. 100%. Now, it's going to be another point in the
Hmm.
conversation that I wanted to get into, is the rumors that are out here right now that Devin Haney and Teofimo are in some sort of negotiations, right? That they're trying to make
Hmm.
that fight happen. They're trying to come to some understanding and some agreement. And just like I said, boxing is going to continue to move on. Great fights are going to be made. The fighters who make the fights, the fighters who are available to fight, are going to get watched. And the ones who are not active and who aren't fighting, they're going to get pushed to the side, man. That's the natural order of the way things work. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it goes. And I can tell you, on this boxing platform, we talk about fights. And if you're
Yep.
not in the conversation of fights happening, then naturally, this is not a chatty patty rumorville channel. And at times it starts to feel like that when we sit here and we argue about Tank Davis fighting somebody, constantly pushing on something that just not getting any type of traction with the actual fighters. They're not actually pushing for the fights themselves. Shout out to Ryan Frazier
Salute to my brother Ryan.
no doubt, no doubt, no
Yeah,
doubt.
yeah, yeah. I just watched
So
this video from last night, this morning.
right. Man, bro, but that momentum, that hate that happened just now with the stream getting ended the way it did, that was diabolical, bro. That was interesting. I
And
don't want to get into no conspiracies, what conspiracies is there to have, but that was definitely interesting to see that
those the
whole
stars
entire thing.
aligning.
That was
that
weird. Brother,
was
that was
that
weird.
was
It was
that was some that might have been them spacemen, Clay.
Listen, man, it got weird. Let's be honest. That was an interesting experience. That was an interesting experience. You guys, I'm watching it unfold. I'm like, what in the world happened, man?
Yo,
See, cool. What's good, family? Salute, salute. You know what I mean? That was diabolical, bro. That was interesting. And we're going to be on here for a little bit long. Maybe I should just open the panel up. and just have some people
Yeah, let's
call and
break.
talk
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Especially Ryan, man. Ryan been building, man. I've been listening to him,
oh
man.
yeah,
Yo,
me
he be
too.
building. I think maybe our brother Doc Box in the building too, because I know he be chiming in. He be sitting in the back of the chat sometimes. He don't be, you know what I mean? He be letting me know.
Hmm. Hopefully everything works out the way it's supposed to work out, man. Feel free to hit the link, guys. Come up and build. The momentum kind of got taken from us. We was really having a good conversation. I wanted to give an opportunity for a lot of people to come up here, and it didn't. We didn't see it. Al Heyman is trying to silence you, man. You never know, Tim. We don't know. We don't know, man. They did. They took that. They
And
took that little momentum we had going, man. It was interesting. It was working out, and we got shut up. Maybe we're doing too much. Maybe we're doing too much. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we are doing too much. You know what I'm saying? But
I don't even put that on Al, Clay. I respect
yeah,
Al too much. I have to put
yeah.
that
I
on him.
mean,
But according to the
yeah,
game, though, we don't respect this guy. But I respect Al too much to put that on him. That was turkey
mhm,
for sure.
yeah, yeah. That momentum got taken. Turkey might have not been happy. Maybe he's like, no, I want this narrative to keep on moving. I don't know.
Yeah, right, right. It
But
was.
what do you think the chances are for Devin and Tio for that to actually manifest into something at this point, being that the negotiations
It,
has already
it,
made it out?
yeah, I think it's going to happen. I think it's something that's actually bound to happen. I think Tio wants that big fight. Devin wants to get a big name.
Mhm,
It's going to be fireworks. It's going to be something that's going to be challenging. It's going to give the opportunity for Devin to really make save face again, and it's
mhm,
going to help Tio get in a name recognition fight. I think Tio actually steps up this fight. I think he does actually fights a little better. I think there are some holes that Devin needs to fix to go into the ring with somebody like Tio. I always thought that, but I also see Tio's weakness. Tio's weakness is the style of Devin Haney, a pure boxer, a guy that can move in the ring, defensively sound, and do the things he does. So it happening is far and no in between for
mhm.
this fight to happen. It's going to happen. Like I said, we need it, and I see Top Rank working also on this, and I think the negotiations with or the preliminary hearings and all that stuff going on with Top Rank and Tio might be shoved
Mhm.
aside. They might be working on this deal to make it happen, and it's good for boxing, bro. Again, the best fighting the best. That's all we want. That's it. Four kings have four kings, right? That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Salute to Cheech in the building. What's good, family? How you doing,
what's up,
man?
Cheech.
Going on, fellas? Going on, Claymore, Ray?
Doing
You know,
good.
I'm
Cheech, where
chilling.
you from?
And I'm in Tegan from the Caribbean.
Okay, okay, no doubt.
Antigua.
I don't get to
Okay.
talk to you really on the panel. I don't remember if you ever came up on a panel before, but when I heard the accent, I'm like, oh shit, you never know who
I
you're
heard him.
talking to.
I heard him on the panel before. Not our panel, but I heard him on the panel.
Right, 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 right. But what's on your mind, brother? What interests you today, man? We talking about Devin, and we talking about Keyshawn. We talking about Tank. We talking about Boots. We talking about Brian Norman Sr. We talking about this fight card coming up this weekend. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I'll just touch on Boots, man. And I mean, I agree with what pretty much Ray said on the first live.
Mm-hmm,
I think that so it's kind of clear that a lot of casual fans like they don't know most of these people.
mm-hmm,
And so when it comes to Karen, I mean, they want to say a lot of things.
mm-hmm,
But instead of criticizing Boots, I mean, I think we have to give credit to Karen and his performance. And he pretty much came and gave a great fight. He showcased himself well. In the
mm-hmm,
first fight, he didn't. In this fight, he did. And because of this fight, I mean, I actually became a fan of the guy. Followed him on Instagram and everything, saying that I appreciate what he brought in the second fight.
mm-hmm,
Um, I think when it comes to Boots, I think Boots' defense is always there in my opinion. In this fight, it didn't show, and believe it didn't show because of this pretty much because of the style contrast.
mm-hmm,
Um, I don't know how many fighters how many Ukrainian fighters Boots fought, but he had a problem with that style. I think Karen's style was a bit unique for him. He was pretty much throwing punches that were off rhythm and off time, which pretty much catch Boots. Um, you could pretty much say those were unpredictable punches.
mm-hmm,
Um, but Boots showed a lot of defense in his previous fights. In this fight, not so much. I just think it's because of the style. And for me, pretty much given the performance that Karen had, I mean, I think he could probably become a world champion at 147 if he fights the other guys outside Boots. So I'm just giving a lot of credit to Karen and what he brought, and I'm not diminish anything. I'm not diminishing Boots' skill set or anything, because Boots is still that guy. He just had a problem with the style. That's it.
Yeah, I think what the boxing content creation space is missing at times is an even keel um and an analyst, or is that the word I'm looking for? An even keel take, I'm going to say, on a fight, right? Boots did show some holes in his game, but does Boots become a hype job now? No. Does he become not who we know him to be as far as how the level of fighter he is? Not necessarily. Every match that happens, you're going to see things happen in that match, especially when you're dealing with losses and things of that nature. But this wasn't the case. But when you're dealing with comparing Boots with Terrence Crawford, when you're comparing him with the elite, the best of the best in the sport, then that means whenever he gets in the ring and he fights, what's going to happen is there's going to be a magnifying glass there, right? People are going to start trying to break up and look at the fight, and they're going to try to use the triangle theory. And as many times as the triangle theory has been debunked as far as not really working, that's naturally, I think, what people are going to do. You're going to watch Keyshawn Davis fight Gustavo Lemos, and you're going to think about him against Tank Davis. Or you're going to think about it against another big puncher in the division. You're going to say, wow, he handled this like that. I wonder what he's going to do with this other fighter. And with Jerron Boots Ennis, obviously, when he's going to go under the magnifying glass, what's going to happen is you're going to think about, man, how's this guy look against Bakram Murtalazayev? Or how's he going to look against Virgil Ortiz? Or how's he going to match up with Mario Barrios or any other fighter that supposedly could be fighting him in the near future? So you watching Boots Ennis in his last two fights with David Avanesian and then this fight he just had with Karen, and you're watching him get hit more than you think he should be getting hit. And it's not just us. I mean, boxing trainers across the board are just like, man, he got hit a lot. You know what I mean? Across the board, you look at the biggest platforms, and I'm not talking about YouTube content creation spaces. I'm talking about like the Teddy Atlases and the Chris Algieri's and the Tim Bradleys and, you know, the people who are just kind of certified. I mean, Hall of Famers or people who've been in the boxing space for a long time who are just like, yo, this kid is good, but he got hit too much in that fight. And there's nothing wrong with saying that and highlighting that. There's nothing wrong with acknowledging what you're seeing. We need to be able to take things with a grain of salt as well, though. We need to be able to take things and say, you know what, he could have had an off night. Or maybe he does need to make some adjustments in his camp. Maybe there are some things he needs to take into consideration. Maybe Bozy Ennis could take some things into consideration as far as his preparation, as far as him preparing to fight the best fighters in the world. Now, Boots in his own right acknowledged his performance when he said on the post-fight press conference, he even spoke to the fact that, listen, that wasn't my best performance, but I know if I get in the ring with higher competition, right, with the higher fights he said that I can get up for, that I can really get motivated for, that I'm not going to be fighting the same way. You know, he's taking chances possibly because of the matchups he's getting. I can be cool with that. But the only thing I push back at when I hear him say things like that, or other people say things like that, is that we have to remember that we are creatures of habits. What we do most of the time is generally what we do all of the time, generally speaking, right? And if he's used to moving that way and competing that way, what's to say, and we won't know until that moment, you know, that moment of clarity comes when he gets an opportunity to prove himself. But what's to say that those habits won't creep in to the biggest opportunities of his life? So that's why it's like, be who you're going to be no matter who you're fighting against. That way, if you stay ready, you never have to get ready. And that's also fair to say when you're talking about Jerron Boots Ennis's last two performances, right? I think it's fair to say that. And I just think people have a hard time doing that. It just seems like people get overcommitted to just throwing a fighter away completely, be like, he's a hype job, or, you know, or celebrating him and saying he's the best thing since sliced bread. People have a hard time of teetering that middle space, that common ground space where the fighter still has the respect, the fighter still has the promise, but the fighter also showed some weak points in approach, in his approach to boxing in comparison to the biggest fights that he could be getting involved with. I don't know if that makes sense or not. I want to bring that into bring in the room a new guy I've never heard. I hope, dude, I don't know who you are. Tank is a bum is your name, so that's already kind of like concerning. We'll see what you're speaking on. How you feel today, brother?
What's up, man? This is Ross Clot. I don't know what happened to my avatar.
Oh, okay. What's good, Ross? What's good? I feel way better now. I'm like, all right, cool. I kind of felt like somebody was jacking your slang a little bit. When I see Tank as a bum, I'm like, man, somebody already, boy, they like to jack.
No.
Boy, they
Yo, I was like, whoa. I was like,
What's
yo,
up,
just
Ray?
don't show me that. What's going on? I put my thumb up on the thumbnail. I was like, yo, I don't want to see that.
Yeah, it's
I was like,
crazy pop up. What's
I
good, Ross?
mean, it's a,
What
To you
was
guys.
going to get?
I want to apologize to you guys for the other night, man, for me coming at the other guy. I won't do that again. What I realize now, there's boxing fans and then there's fans of the boxer. And I think sometimes I got to separate myself from debating with boxing fans and fans of the boxer. So I won't come at anybody again on your channel out of respect for your channel.
No, I
I mean,
appreciate that,
you were
Ross.
defending yourself. That was cool. We got it. You know what I mean? It was just turning up. It was turning up
Yeah,
real
yeah,
quick, and I was like, but I get it. You know what I mean? Everybody has to have the last word. We get situations. We men. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Sometimes feelings get involved, and some people get emotional. It is what it is, and no
Right,
disrespect
right.
to him or you. You know what I mean? I think Blaze, was it Blaze pound for pound, man? I think he's a knowledgeable guy. I would like to
Yeah.
have you up here and do a nice debate. That'd have been no problem. We just set them. Me and Clay would have been set aside. Look, we even said it. Clay, we was like, Clay, what we say? We was like, yo, we should be like, yo, y'all can go at it for $10 super chat. Y'all can go at it. You know what I mean? Each one of you, $10 donation. You know
I
what I
know
mean?
that's
It's
right.
true.
Yeah.
It's true. Why not? Y'all can
Right,
go at it and
right.
y'all keep the boxing. Y'all can bring a conversation in, and me and Clay sit back and just enjoy it like everybody else.
Right. Yeah, that sound good. I
Yeah.
wanted to touch on what the brother had just spoke on. Remember when I was on there last time? I said, you know what? We all downplaying what Karen did, and we concerned with what Boots didn't do. That was a good fight, and at the end of the day, we criticizing Boots. The dude still won a unanimous decision, y'all. So I don't know what his plans is. He says he wants to move up to 154. Maybe it's an excuse. Maybe he feel like, damn, I was supposed to take this dude out. I don't know, but it remains to be seen if he's gonna be strong at 54, and we'll see.
So I was
Yeah.
thinking about something real quick. I'm sorry, Clay. I ain't cut you off there. I was thinking about something when teachers talking. I had two thoughts in mind when I was thinking about Boots the other night. I mean, I'm sorry, while teachers talking, I was like, yo, pause. I wasn't thinking about him like that, but I was like, yo, do we see another Miguel Cotto or another Paul Williams in Boots? Like, are we really going to see that, or are we going to see somebody that's going to just stay solid, get those chinks in the armor out, shine it up real good, get out there and just continue to be the champion that he is? You know what I mean? Like, which way is he going to go? This is the what they call that road that turns into a fork, and you're either going to go right or left, and one of them is going to lead to the best decision you're going to make. So that's what I want to see with Boots right now. And the questions are, which way is he going to go?
Yeah, man. A lot of questions are going to get answered with fights. The more fights we see, the more questions are going to get answered. You know what I mean? But throwing away the fighter, there's no reason to do that. We can keep it 100 on what we're seeing in the ring and not throw fighters away. It's just not necessary. I agree with what Ross Scott said. I think that Karen Kukadaji, and however we say his last name, deserves a lot more credit than we probably I'm giving him a lot of credit, but the boxing space is willing to give him, and understand that level of fighter is going to give higher competition, and that in many ways Boots was able to show. Obviously he won, right? Number one, we can't act like he lost, but number two, also understand that it's not easy when you're dealing with a high level fighter like that. And we need to give a little bit more respect, not only to Karen, but all these Eastern Europeans. I've been telling you guys going into the year about watch out for these dudes. These dudes are going to be those guys who give you those upsets. They're going to give that high level competition on fights. They look like they shouldn't, but they do. But at the end of the day, it's also fair to say Boots got hit a lot, man. He did. He got hit a lot, man. He doesn't need to be getting hit that much. He shouldn't be getting hit that much. He should be aware of that. His corner should have adjusted, and I believe I think they should have acknowledged, like, damn, you getting punched on, bro. Like, hey, man, I need you to keep your hands up. I need you to, stand behind that jab a little bit and stop just meleeing and making this all a mid-range fight. I need you to mix it up a little bit more. You're making it easy for this guy to hit you. And not for nothing, even though he won that fight, but because if he goes up into the 154-pound weight class division, which it seems like that's where he's going to go, there are fighters up there who are going to be able to take advantage of that, who have the speed and power to take advantage of what they saw. And they're going to use that. You saw how Brian Norman Sr. reacted to it. He immediately started processing and implementing things that he knows is going to get his son to that victory, right? Like, oh man, I seen things I could take advantage of. So what are they going to be practicing on, right? They're going to be getting ready for this new version of Boots that they didn't see before, who's vulnerable to certain things. So that's part of their process in developing. That's what they're supposed to do as well. When they go back into camp, when they go back to the gym and they're rewatching the video, or if I don't know if Boots is watching the video when Bozy watches it, or whoever they pay to do that, they got to analyze that and address that, or that situation is going to address them in the biggest show of their life. That's just part of the game. That's not hating on Boots, but people take it there. I'm not gonna lie. I see it in the boxing space. I told you, y'all don't never say Terrence Crawford's name again. Don't never say Errol Spencer's name again. He better never say, like, bro, y'all doing a whole lot right now. You know what I mean? Y'all doing a whole lot. It's not that serious.
No. Yeah, right.
People just going crazy. He better never, ever, ever, ever come to 154. I'll tell you right now. Now that I seen that, oh man, damn, bro, like y'all going hard.
Right. And you know what the best thing about this is? As much as we look at this is really a loss, right? And what do you learn from in your failures? When you fail, you improve upon the things you failed upon, and you try to work harder on the things that you already know, so that you become a better fighter, better person, better whatever in life in general, right? So this ain't obviously his record didn't take the L, but this is as close as he's going to get as of now. So this is the opportunity for him to make the improvements and the necessary improvements. This is 2 fights in a row where he's been criticized, but we start to see a trend. As Clay said, I mentioned, you know what I mean, when you got Boots in the ring and he's stuck in play mode and he's not fast forwarding, he's not rewinding, he's not doing anything. I'm talking about the old cassette decks, if you guys don't know what that is, but he's not moving anything. He's not even pausing, bro. He just keeps going forward. And when he's doing that, he's not slowing down. He's not looking. He's not letting the fight come to him. He's not changing tactics. Nothing. He's just staying one-dimensional. And he has to get back to the basics. I always say that. I say that when I play baseball. I talk to the pitchers, even when I coach. Listen, man, go back to the basics. Sometimes the basics work. They get you where you need to get to, because once you start there, it'll start triggering certain things, and you start seeing different looks and start seeing different things, and that may bring you back to where you need to be, instead of going in there and telling my son to just get him out of here. Let's go, get him out. I was like, yo, that was bad, bro. Now you got that guy out here staying in the middle of the ring with somebody that got good footwork, and he knew what you was coming to do. It's like I told you, he bet on himself and he won, bro.
Yeah, man. In terms of Boots and the Avanesian fight, I think for that fight, there was a disregard for defense, just because he wanted to give the fans a show, which he did, because he stayed in the pocket and pretty much banged it out with Avanesian. So I don't think there was a defensive issue in that fight. It's just that there was a disregard for defense. With this Karen fight, he's just gonna do anything pretty much. And again, for me, it's because of the style, the off-rhythm style. But a question that I want to ask you guys, after Bud and Spence moved to 154, I mean, everybody said that 147 is dead now, it's trash. And again, it goes back to the question, most people are casual. They don't know a lot of fighters at 147. So we don't know who's good, right? We saw Karen showed us something. We don't know who the next nobody is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we just gotta wait to see who the next person is. And to Ray's question, you're asking where Boots is gonna go from now. Are you talking about moving forward in 147 or moving forward in 154?
I'm saying as building his confidence, or whatever, you know what I mean, he lost that day. Where does he go? Like I said, he hit the middle of the road there where it's taking a turn. And I don't and here frequent. He lost. No, he didn't lose. Frequent. No, absolutely not frequency. What I'm saying is, you get to that point where you're not where you want to be. We all have been there in life. We all have had to face that adversity, and I think this is a point where he has to make a decision. Is he going to go left? Is he going to go right? And which one's going to be the best decision? Do I continue to stay on the same game plan? And I know this works, and I know this is how I fight because I just been accustomed to it for so long. I've been beating anybody up, or do I go back in this gym and I work on the things that I just seen that didn't work for me? Do I start staying back and utilize my length and my jab to keep these guys back and let them run into something? Do I sit there and I work on my footwork so when I'm being pushed back, I'm not tripping over my own feet? Like these are the questions that I would have if I'm Boots to myself. Not that he needs to go forward to 154 or 147. That has nothing to do with it. No teach.
Well, Boost to me is a very diligent guy. Bozy to me is a very diligent guy. I think they would go back to the gym and work on stuff. So I don't think Boost is that type of guy to take anything lightly. They know what they need to do and they're pretty much gonna fix it in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd
Understood.
I'd like to believe that. You know what I mean? That's what I think too. I think at the end of the day, one fight or one or two fights isn't going to throw me into. And I put up the message here that Siku said right here, just to put it out there. He said, "Hey Clay, why people keep talking about changing trainers?" But Boot said it himself that his father was telling him, but he said he wasn't listening to him in the corner. So ultimately, there's so many different variables, so many moving parts to a bad fight, right? Especially when we're talking about fighters who give us great fights and then all of a sudden we see a bad fight. So there's so many moving variables. Boots could have had a stomach ache that morning. He might have not been on the same page with his father that day. Maybe they got into a little heated situation before the fight or the night before. Maybe him and his girl got into it. Maybe he had a toothache. Maybe you don't know what in the world is going on. There's so many moving parts. So we can identify the issues, but a lot of us choose to sit on our couches and become top trainers, you know what I'm saying, and top boxing analysts on our couch, and we criticize people it gets too deep. It's just like, yes, I am going to say that I saw things in there that I think are going to hurt him in other fights if he doesn't fix them, but I'm not ready to give all the solutions. I don't know what it takes to necessarily get him there. So we're gonna have to have faith in Bozy and Boots to come together as a team, as a family, to come together, address the situation. They didn't lose, and even if they did lose, right, but they didn't lose, let them address the situation. But I can tell you, going into the next fight, we'll be looking to see if these holes got patched. Naturally, I think naturally we're going to be like, let's see if he's getting hit as much, right? Let's see if he's still going through the things that we saw him going through in the other fight. And that's with any boxer in the world. That's how this works. That's how this works. Salute to Echo in the building. My guy Echo, always on the other side of the pond, man.
Salute, Echo.
How's it going?
How's everybody?
We're doing
good,
well,
Echo.
Salute.
How's the access?
I can speak today. I think I've not spoke a lot, but I'm able to speak. So hopefully, don't start it off again.
It doesn't flare up on you, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yesterday was terrible. Yeah.
No doubt. I'm happy to hear that you're in better spirits. Salute to Carl Brown in the building. What's good, Carl? How you feeling? Carl, I know there's a all right. I know there's a delay when we talk, so I always wait a little extra time for you to kind of catch up to whatever we're saying to answer.
I'm gonna be good once I go upstairs. I'm down here just making me something to eat right now, but I'm listening in. So I mean, if you ready for me to chime in, just let me know. I'm gonna mute mine real quick. All right.
All right. No doubt, Carl. No doubt. Yeah, man. So it is what it is. Let me see what D-Nice, when you are placed on a pedestal, anything. Yeah, it comes with it. I think you can only judge his improvement if he fights a similar style as Karen. Yeah, I mean, all the above, D. They have careers, and us as boxing fans, we're watching these fighters move on their journey in their careers, and we're watching for the improvements. We're seeing things. It's what we do. It's what we're here to do. You know what I mean? We're watching fights, and naturally, we're going to analyze the fights. We're going to give our opinions on them. That's what we do. That's what we're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? So we'll watch the improvements, or we might watch him digress as well. Maybe he turns out to be not that guy. Maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe this fight is significant. Maybe in hindsight, should I say, this fight that he just had will be more significant. In 5 to 10 fights from now, maybe we'll be like, you know what he showed us in that fight against Karen, that really was an issue. You know what I'm saying? He really was just showing us. Maybe that might come out. We don't know. Go ahead, Echo. You're about to tap in.
Yeah, you know what Rascal said about we've got to give Karen the respect for the fight. He probably is better than what we realize.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't really know much about him.
I was just about to say that, Clay.
You know, there's no real CV or resume of anything, of any fighting anybody of that level. You know, so I think Boots. So I mentioned this I mentioned it yesterday about the footwork, about the back foot, because your back foot is the distance. It is, and if you're on the attack and your back foot is too far back, you can't land anything. The back foot is more defensive. You watch Mayweather, what he would do, he'd take a short step back with his back foot and lean in. So what he would do, he'd try and draw somebody's right hand or whatever, or jab. Then he'd pull back and throw his own right hand. And this is the difference between when somebody steps forward to punch. If you step forward with your front foot 3 inches, your back foot must move in the same amount. Else you're going to have a wide stance. Exactly. And the same thing, if you're stepping to the left, you must move the left foot forward to the left. If you're stepping to the left, your left foot steps first.
Right.
Else you're going to cross your legs. And if you watch Boots in that fight, some of the exchanges, he was actually losing his balance. Did you see that?
Yes, I did notice that. And I think that's him. That's you know, I agree with you, because I think that's a bad habit. And you let me know, you know better than me, Echo. It seems like a bad habit because it seems like something he's used to doing, and he's used to not suffering the ultimate consequence to it because of his athleticism. He's used to kind of like being athletic and just kind of like making that fundamental mistake, but it not affecting him in the way that it probably should be. And I'll compare him a little bit to Roy Jones, who's my favorite fighter of all time, who, you know, he got away with a lot because of his athleticism. He was able to do things that if other fighters tried to do the same things he did, they would have suffered a horrible consequence. You know what I mean? He was just quick enough and agile enough to not necessarily be held underneath the same laws as everybody else. He was able to recover, but it seemed like with that fight with Karen, he was getting caught up in that a little bit. What do you think?
Right. Real quick, that's to go back to what I was saying. That's exactly what I was mentioning earlier. Is that the things he need to work on. I said I don't want to see him be that Miguel Cotto or that or that Paul Williams moving up in weight or moving around in the ring and getting caught, because these are great examples of people that were able to fight and they had their styles and they used their strengths, but their weaknesses were shown flawed. And once some weaknesses showed up, people were able to take advantage of them. I mean, they're still great boxers, right, in history, so it is what it is. I'm just hoping going forward, Clay, that he does work on getting his feet underneath him, able to be move his get his footwork down, be able to utilize that jab to keep that range, and set up the shots and be patient. That's what I was really getting at earlier.
Yeah, go ahead, but Echo, answer that a little bit. Is that
yeah?
part of it?
What I was going to say is that if you look at some of the boxers that had perfect balance, there was always balance to punch. Like Joe Louis, for instance. Joe Louis's nickname was the Brown Bomber. Okay. But he also had the nickname Shuffling Joe Louis because he very rarely took long steps. They were only short steps. But what he used to do when he used to throw his right hand, he used to bring his back foot in with the same amount that he stepped in with his front foot. And if anybody has read the book How to Box by Joe Louis, he actually taught that when he was on the bag. He actually said you got to bring your back foot in. Because if you bring your back foot in, you drag it in rather than hopping in. If you drag your foot in, you're still on the floor. So you can push off and go out either way. Right. So that's why they used to call him Shuffling Joe Louis, because the back foot shouldn't be hopping around, really.
Right.
especially
Right.
when you're punching. Obviously, you've got a pendulum step, which is totally different, but you've got a step back and slide, which is like having your heel raised, taking a short step back with the rear foot and dropping your heel. Then your front foot will pull back as well. And a lot of boxers do that, but not many of them do it well.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Let me
the
bring it.
real good defensive fighters like Ray Leonard and Whitaker, Chavez. I'm on about Julio Cesar Chavez.
Mhm.
They used to do that a lot. They used to.
No doubt, no doubt. Let me bring in some of the other guys that's on the panel now. We got 2 new people on the panel.
Hey,
Obviously, we got Carl
hey,
Brown, and we got.
do I still got a delay?
No, you don't got a delay. A matter of fact, I'm about to bring you in though. Give me 1 second. Let me just bring Too Rich in. Say what's up. Salute Too Rich. How you doing, brother?
So salute Clay and Ray and panel.
No
I just wanted to speak on as I'm listening to the fallout, and I'm still hearing Boots fans say that well, you know, that was just Karen, you know, Boots, you know, he's gonna be better, you know, they still talk about going to 154 or whatever. And you know, my thing is about the patterns. When he fought Karen the first time, he established a pattern. People dismissed it. Now, I made the video showing what Karen exposed him. The only difference between the rematch and the first fight was that Karen sat down this time. He stood and fight, but he caught Boots with the exact same punches that he caught him with in the first fight because no adjustments were ever made. Everybody just think that, oh, Boots will you get better because of the adjustments you make. That's how you get better. You have to look back, okay, where was my errors and what can I clean up? Now, when I look at whether it's war or whether it's a fight, it's only 3 parts. It's the entry, it's the attack, and it's the exit. So when you look at Boots, where is he weak at? The entry. He coming in with no jab. You're gonna time him. Just time him. He coming in with no jab. His entry is weak. He's not fainting. He's not doing anything to get you off balance. He's just stepping in like, hey, I'm the bully. I'm the bigger guy. I'm not worried about you. You know what I'm saying? His exit. He's exiting head on the line, straight up in the air. All you got to do is pivot and catch him with his head in the air because his feet is out of place. So all I'm saying is if he's going to get better, we have to clean up those things. You know what I'm saying? That's all. It's not, I may be considered to be heavily critical, but these are the things that I'm saying on tape. This is what I pointed out before the fight, that these were issues that had to be cleaned up. Everybody dismissed it. He showed the same issues with David Avenesian. Everybody dismissed it. And here we are now saying that you're going to send this guy who hasn't cleaned up his errors to 154 with harder punches. He's going to be fooled. Stay at 147, because I still think it's hard to beat him at 147. Clean up the errors, and then go to 154. I think they'll fight him at 147 now because they see some vulnerability. But I still think it's going to be hard-pressed to beat Boots at 147.
doubt, no doubt.
Yep.
Let me bring Carl into the conversation. Carl, go ahead, man. Feel free to cook, brother.
Oh man, you know I gotta. Hey Clay, you know if I ask for the link, I see something. You know what I mean? And my takes ain't never too bad. You know what I mean? I ain't saying I'm definitely not no historian. And all I do is I learn from you too, Clay. I learn even the guy that's right next to me. I don't know his name.
Echo.
He got his screen on.
Echo.
And the last guy that was just talking, I really want to piggyback off of something that y'all was saying. I just want to add a little something. And off of what y'all was saying, everything that y'all said was straight up on point. But my thing, well, I think people not giving Karen, matter of fact, I think Echo did say it, people not giving Karen that much credit. Because what I seen in the first fight, Clay, wait, my bad. Dang, see, Clay, you know I always got stuff. I got what I called on Keyshawn Davis fight. I was on your channel, Clay. What I say? I say that guy swing too wide. Look, look, me and you play. I say he swing too wide. I say knock out early. And I ain't gonna lie. I want to touch a little bit on that. I just think that guy came in. I'm not going not take none away from Keyshawn Davis. You got to do what you got to do. I think the guy took a dive because he did not fight him nowhere near he fought on Richard. Nowhere near. This guy was jumping all over the place like like a frog, man. Like I wasn't even expecting that. When I first seen the first leap, I said, "Oh, yeah, my prediction is right. Early knockout." But I want us to give Karen some credit. Karen can box.
Mm-hmm.
Karen can box. He probably don't got the power that everybody want him to have, but Karen can box. Either Karen ain't got the power or Boots got a chin. It's one of the two. We can't just see and say Boots got exposed. Boots got into a fight with a guy that I tell the truth, after seeing Cameron, just like everybody seen the guy that Terrence Crawford fought, after seeing Cameron fight Boots not once, not twice, not once, but twice, and he held his own, made it to 12, I'm hard pressed to see what these other welterweights can do with Cameron. I really want to see. I think Cameron box some of these dudes' socks off and stay in the pocket with them. Everybody ain't got that boost power to make them respect them. And that's why I wanted to start off with. I could keep going, but I'm gonna stop right there.
I agree with you. I think Karen is not getting spoken about enough. I think like you said, I match him up with some other fighters in the division, and I'm hard pressed to see these guys beating him or beating him easily. You know what I mean? We'll say it like that. Mario Barrios, I can see Karen taking advantage of somebody who's flat-footed coming forward and just fundamentally sound, but the angles he was hitting, his movement, his ability to keep his head off that line and punch while you're punching and hit you and not get hit, and the things he was doing was very interesting. And he had a real test in front of him with a Boots Ennis. His stock went up. This is one of those fights where, he took a loss on the records, but I think on the boxing space is going to start embracing him a little bit more and taking him more seriously. And just to add to it as well, to say, I've been saying this for a long time. These Eastern European boxers are really good fighters, bro. Yeah, and I'm going to keep saying it because they keep showing improving. And it's not just about victories. It's about the fights that they're giving us. I'm not going to go down a list of fighters, but pay attention. When they're involved in a conversation, it's not an open and close case, right? It's not just like, don't do that, because these dudes are competing at the highest levels. They have very, very deep, in-depth amateur backgrounds. They've seen a lot of different approaches to fighting, and they're very prideful over there. They take that amateur circuit over there very seriously, and they're improving and getting better and better and better. And they're giving our fighters that some of our fighters here in America are seeing the best test they've ever seen in their whole careers against these Eastern Europeans. That's why I say when I think about Terrence Crawford and Ismail Majimov, and everybody want to be like, Terrence, bro, I'm telling y'all, sleeping on how good Ismail really is. I'm really looking forward to see Ismail Majimov and Serhii Bohachuk compete on this Tyson Fury Alexander Usyk 2 card. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be a fireworks of a card. Serhii Bohachuk ran it with Virgil Ortiz. He ran it with that dude, bro.
You know what I think Majimov kryptonite is, though? I ain't even gonna hold you. I looked at a lot of his fights. Well, I looked at the fights that you know what I think his kryptonite is? A pressure fighter, a methodical pressure fighter. Somebody that don't just, I ain't talking about leaping in. I'm talking about like no lock. I'm talking about like a Earl Spence type.
A puncher. I'm sorry.
Like a puncher, but keep pressure on them, because we
like maybe a Serhii Bohachuk, maybe.
That's what I was saying. A puncher, yeah.
The guy that Virgil Ortiz
yeah.
I say yeah, man. That oh man, that dude can fight. That dude because he don't just swing dumb.
Oh, you're frozen.
That shot that he caught Virgil with and knocked him down with. You saw how he set that up? He seen Virgil lean too many times to that side, and he cracked him. Same old thing with Tim Zoo. That guy. I'm not gonna lie, man. I ain't going. As much as I didn't know their name, and I wasn't following their West color. I ain't gonna lie. Even after Terrence Crawford had beat that guy, I started going back looking at his fight. I've been looking at Cameron ever since the first one, because I liked the way Cameron was moving. Everybody was saying they was calling it running, but no, it was up to Boots to cut that ring off that first time. That guy was boxing and moving. If we gonna get Shakur props for the way he do it, this dude did it better than Shakur, for real, in that first fight.
Maybe I
Like
don't know.
because even though he was running, look at a lot of shots like you said that he caught Boots with in the first time. It just he still did his time. It had them same old things. He knew. I mean, it's plain to see that everybody can see that Karen can box
Yeah.
and Karen got a
Right.
chin on him because Boots can punch. But we ain't gonna sit and try to act like Boots can't punch. We seen Boots
Well,
put
people like it's
dudes
funny
out.
because Brian Norman Sr. Kind of spoke towards that, and he called Boots pillow physics. Yo, Brian Norman
Man,
Sr. Look, right,
Is
Brian
he
Norman
kill-
Sr. Right now. Listen, man, like I like him. I'm gonna tell you the truth, and it's funny because I always end up liking these dudes, right? Like I like Bill Haney. You know what I'm saying? People hate Bill Haney. I like Bill Haney, and I think the same thing with
right.
Brian Norman Sr. You know who? I mean, I don't want to say I don't like him, but like Floyd Schofield Sr., I'm not a real big fan of him. I
Yeah,
ain't gonna lie with the way he
I'm not too
approaches it.
big on him.
Yeah,
I'm not too big on him.
but I like Brian Norman Sr. I like him saying, just speaking boldly and being like, my son knocking that boy out straight up. I see how I'm gonna beat him, and the reason I like it is because he gives you something to look forward to when they fight. When Boots and Brian Norman fight, if they do fight, when you have fathers like Brian Norman Sr. promoting Brian Norman Jr. the way he is, it gives you something to look forward to see. Like, oh, I gotta see this. You really think you can come up with a game plan? You saw something that you believe you can teach your son to take advantage of, to where we watch somebody like Boots Ennis get knocked out. I'm gonna be 100 with you.
That could be
I
a
don't
thing.
see it like that. But at the same time,
That-
as a boxing fan, come on, bro. Who don't want to see that happen? Like, shout out to Boots, respectfully, bro. But yeah, bro, you got somebody out there who thinks he can knock you out. I'm interested in seeing him try to knock you out. I want to see it happen.
If
I want to piggyback
if I
off
had
that.
Wait,
go
hold
ahead.
on, Carl. Let's teach build. Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah,
Cause you know me. I look at boxing a lot, bro. My bad.
Mhm.
But go
yeah.
ahead.
So I pretty much want to piggyback off what Clay said and what Rich said earlier. And this is just to bring in Brian Norman Sr., right? In my opinion, for me, I think those guys are afraid of Boots, but I want to give him his credit at the same time. Reason being is because Brian Norman Sr. mentioned that fighters are like reluctant to engage with Boots. He
Mhm.
said that in many of his not interviews, but when he's on a panel with somebody.
Mhm.
But if someone like isn't afraid to mix it up with Boots, like they could expose his defensive flaws. And I mean, this seems accurate based on what we saw with Karen, right?
Mhm.
And while Norman Cena has a valid point, at the same time, I don't believe that Norman Jr. is a fighter that will expose Boots' defense, right? Because I think his fighting style is more predictable than a Karen.
Mhm.
But again, if Senior stands by his claims, right? I think they should just fight Boots and see if they could expose his defense.
Hey, well,
Teach.
let me add.
Well, I'm gonna add this real quick, like 20 seconds, and I'll bring it to you too, Rich. I'm just gonna add to say like this: Brian Norman Sr. makes me want Boots and Brian Norman Jr. to fight.
Yeah.
And I know Boots is talking about leaving to go to 154, but I feel like we might have a little FOMO if this fight doesn't happen at 147. So I'm gonna put out there for whatever it's worth. If respectfully, if Boots and Bozy and Eddie Hearn's listening, y'all should fight Brian Norman before y'all leave.
Hey Clay,
147.
I'm not trying to
Right
cut
on
you
time.
off, but Clay, it's a lot missing from what Boots said that night. That's why see me. That's why I be saying I could keep going because my bad. I just
Wait,
want to say this one
hold on.
thing though.
Say it real quick because I told two
All
Rich
right,
to get
real
next.
quick. Yeah, my bad. Remember, Boots said if he don't get the champions at 147, he's gonna go to 54.
Facts.
We can't leave that out. If the champions don't fight him at 147, then he might as well go to 154. So I don't even think Brian Norman Sr. heard that. That's why I'm saying I want somebody to run that past him, let him know what you feel about that. I don't think that Brian Norman beat him.
All right, go ahead, you Rich.
I'm kind of responding to Teach where you say I want you to look at something. And I told Greg Hackett this when I was on his live. I said, look, it's the same thing with Karen. Boots coming in with no jab and that wide right hook. If you go look at Brian Norman Jr. versus Santillan, look at Brian Norman punches, how short they are. He has no recoil in his punch. So he got his hands out ready to fight. He's shooting that right. I told Greg Heck, I said, he's gonna land before Boots. Now, does he have enough power to stop Boots is going to be the question. But for sure, it's the same breakdown for me. He's going to land those short punches before Boots hits him. And so it's going to be, we see Boots got a chin. Can't say nothing about Boots' chin. He got a great chin. So I still question, can he stop Boots? But he will touch Boots. No doubt about it. It's just whether he can take Boots' more thudding power.
No
Yeah,
doubt.
but
Yo,
again,
let me shout
Okay.
out. Let me shout out somebody who I've never seen come over on the panel. I'm like, oh ish. I gotta shout you out. Bruce Gas Boxing in the building. Never see you on the panel. I'm here, which is
Yeah.
wild. Let me tell you something. It's extra wild because I got Bruce Gas up here and Echo up here on the same panel. I'm taking that as personal accolades to my channel right now. I'm taking that as a personal accomplishment. I don't know how many people get it like this, but yeah, Bruce, I'm gonna let you cut the line. I shout out to everybody, but Bruce, go ahead and build. OG, speak your piece.
Bruce Gas, salute.
Hey, much love, man. No, I just wanted to put my my thoughts about the Boots and the Karen fight the other night. See now, what I saw the whole fight. I see Karen. He went back to Ukraine. All of a sudden, he gets the rematch. I think they pumped him up. They said, "Man, you went 12 with this guy. He's supposed to be the best in the world. You went 12 rounds with him. This time, you go get him." Boots said, "It's going to be the same thing coming at me." And Karen, a whole different Karen came in there, very aggressive. Sticking his chin out, taunting. Boots wasn't ready for that. See, Boots, to be a great fighter, you have to have plan B. You have to have plan C. Boots just stuck with that plan A, and that wasn't working, and that's why it was so controversial. If Boots is the great fighter that he's supposed to be, he has to get more tools in that toolbox. He has to know how to change courses in the middle of a fight. Karen's got the doors wide open for him now. Everybody's going to want to fight Karen. But as far as Boots and Brian Norman go, I see Brian Norman Sr. on all shows right now, and man, I just see that he's pissed that he didn't take that fight with Boots, that 100 and whatever, 1.3, 1.10, whatever the fuck it was. But that's gone now. Boots is saying he wants to go up to 154. And I said many years ago, I said, Jerron Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, that's going to be a great fight. I was hoping it would be at welterweight, but at 154, it's even better because there's much more talent at 154. And, I'm not going to say that's a Hearns-Leonard fight, but years ago when they first broke into the business because of their great amateur careers and the expectations, I said this is going to be a great fight, and these guys are on a collision course. So anyway, man, I just wanted to stop up here for a second, say hi to all you wise boxing minds, and just let you know that I'm listening to you.
Man, I appreciate you, Bruce. What an honor to have you up here. Please don't be a stranger. I don't know if you're going to hang out longer, even better, but if you're bouncing, I understand. But don't be a stranger. Hit that link whenever you see it, man. It's always a pleasure to hear you build, man. I think you're a great boxing mind and historian in the space, man, for sure.
Hey, did you ever do that? What I said? Did you ever try that?
What? Oh, the live at the same time?
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, man. Like, I like your audience, man. I ain't gonna lie. It's not taken away from nobody. I like the feel over here, man. I ain't gonna lie. And I jump on people's panel only if you know how I am.
Yeah.
I like this. I like the way everybody it's not no little kid minds. Like I like this. I like how mellow.
We attract some real minds, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Let me not to cut you off, but just to say that I wanted to piggyback a little bit on what Too Rich said, because now we're getting deeper into analyzing how this fight might really look, and I think Too Rich hit on some real good points. I think that Brian Norman, and I love the example you used, Too Rich, when you brought up that Santillan fight, because that was a mid-range fight, and that's the type of melee that you can picture Brian Norman getting into with Boots. You can see that possibility happening based on what Boots likes to do, not only on what he did with Karen, but even what he did with David Avanesian. It looks like he likes that kind of fight, which to me is more of a sparring kind of like dog sparring match type of fight that he likes. And what Brian Norman showed against Santillan is, like Too Rich said, is his punches are short. They will get there first. Now, the power being there. Now, obviously, Brian Norman Sr. is very confident in his son's power. He says as of late, you know, we got to remember that Brian Norman Jr. is growing. He's 23 years old, right? He's young. He's just getting into his man strength. And he's saying that now Brian Norman Jr. is starting to dispatch of his sparring partners a lot more often now. He says the power is way different. Brian Norman Jr. is growing. He's growing. He's not a fighter who's reached his potential, not only in skills, but also in his power and his ability to deliver that power. So I think that fight is a legitimate, damn near, I'll say 60-40 fight at this point. If you really take into consideration the holes in Boots Ennis's game that he's shown, and you look at the fact that the improvements that Brian Norman Jr. has made in his career and how he looked against Santillan. We will never know. We got to watch the fight. But shout out to Too Rich for pointing that out, because I was thinking about the same damn thing. I'm not going to lie to you. Yesterday, when Brian Norman Jr. was talking, I was like, Senior was talking, I'm like, he got a point. He's seeing something for real. The question is, can Junior execute on what he's calling out? But he is speaking truth. He's not just sitting here talking out his ass. I'm going to let I don't know, Carl, look like you wanted to say something, so I want to let you say something real quick, but like wrap it up quick, lanes you're playing, because I want Echo again, because I see Echo getting in, and then ultimately we got to get back to Ray Davis. I know he's been trying to get in for a minute. I know he's like shaking his head right now behind that damn thing. Go ahead, Carl.
This a little bit off topic, but
wait, no, don't go off topic. Don't go off topic.
No, not off topic, but y'all was talking about it a little earlier. My bad. It's just the fact that, like, because I'm not defending. I'm just gonna say it. Keyshawn really has to get scheduled at least a 12 rounder before we start.
Okay, that's off topic.
He can't just.
That's off topic.
I'm just saying. I would love that fight. I think he'd be a better fight for Tank Davis. Yeah, my bad. I said it earlier to you in the chat, and you did. But I just think that he never been scheduled a 12-round fight.
Okay, save it, because we are going to actually we're going to talk about Keyshawn and Tank. We will talk about it. But I want Echo tap in. I know I could tell when Echo's ready to tap in. Go ahead.
All right.
Yeah, I was just listening to is it Too Rich? He was talking about shortening the punches. Mm-hmm. He's right, because it's not how fast it travels; it's how soon it gets there. And also, if you've got a wide stance when you're near, you're going to have to widen your arm. Mm-hmm. So when you're throwing a hook, the elbow's got to be behind the hook to get the most power anyway. Yeah. So the key to punching is footwork. You're only as good as your footwork. You are. Like I said before, if you step in 2 inches with your front foot and you do it again without moving your back foot, you're 4 inches longer stance. So when you throw that right hand, when somebody just leans back, you're always going to miss because you're too far away. You can put people the 2 front feet together. Mm-hmm. If their back foot is maybe 5 inches longer, they're not going to land with that right hand unless they move that back foot in. They can't just swing. They can't just pivot. People talk about torque, but really, what is torque? Torque is a rotational force over a fixed axis. That's what it really means. So in order to throw punches, you got to be grounded. And the key to punching is really basically, the power starts from the ground and it's released through the legs and controlled by the waist, and it comes out of the hands. And if the angle is wrong, you won't be able to get the most power. You've only got to look at Tommy Hearns with his right hand. Look the way through the right hand. Mm-hmm. He chopped it down, landed with the little knuckles. They were nice, and he was always in position to throw that. Yes. He didn't just throw that punch and miss all the time. And if he did miss, he was missing by 1/4 of an inch, maybe whatever. Mm-hmm. He never was swatting air, like 6 inches or anything like that. And I think that's the key to Boots becoming better, is having better footwork placement. Like I said, Joe Louis was never out of position, ever. Yeah. And he was nowhere near as fast as these guys, really. But he threw short punches, like the 6-inch left hooks. People don't do that nowadays, unless you've got a lot of speed. I mean, Sugar Ray Leonard had a fast punches, but he used to wind his punches up sometimes with his left hook. But he got away with it because of his speed. But when Leonard did it, it was always in the right position with his feet. You never seen him miss by 6 inches ever.
No doubt. Salute, Ross Clyde. I know you're about to bounce. Thanks for giving us the heads up. The link is there for you to come back in when you come back from the store, man. I appreciate you, brother. Or I don't know if you want to like say something before you leave. Do you feel like saying something, or are you out of here? All right, that answered that question. Ray Davis, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm letting everybody build. You know, what I mean, we kind of talked about it earlier, but I'm letting it build.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of these things I've already mentioned. I've been echoed by Echo, Bruce Gas, and Teach, Too Rich, and Carl Brown. Salute to all of you. Carl Brown, I like what you said earlier. I mean, he was in a fight. That was the best thing I've ever heard anybody say, other than just saying that Karen came to bring the fight. Boots found himself in a fight, and finding yourself in a fight creates challenges. And when you create these challenges in a fight, guess what? You have to find your abilities to have adversity and come up with new plans. As Echo said, and sometimes I didn't see too many of sorry, even too Rich said it. It wasn't too much of a plan change. It was more of, I'm going to come out here and I'm just going to keep doing the same thing until it works. Like, you're trying to force something to work, and when you're trying to force something to work against a elite fighter, and as a Karen, like Karen just showed how elite he was. And echo what you just said, Clay. Karen can probably beat, if not, you know what I mean, out of the top 10, he probably can beat most of these guys. I say 80%. Easy. By the performance he put on and the boxing IQ he showed in that ring. Also with Brian Norman's situation is, I don't see, even with him having the shorter and less coiled punch, what Too Rich was saying, I still don't see him even connecting a lot of those, because I think what we're seeing is a slick fighter, Eastern European, who's adapted the ways of this slick fighter and worked on these things, and have a very good way of dealing with the slick black fighter, as opposed to the slick black fighter fighting another black fighter. Yes, the boxer has a very good chance of being able to connect and land punches. I mean, their opponents, they're supposed to hit each other, but I don't see them getting anything clean or flush on. We've seen that happen with Custio Clayton. We also seen it happen with Roman Villa. I know he's not a regular he's not a black fighter, but he's a Mexican fighter. But I think Brian Norman has a lot of the flat footedness of a Roman Villa, and I can see that fight going that way. I can see him being able to showboat with somebody like that. Unfortunately, you have another champion on your hands, so that guy's coming to win and take your title. So that elevates the whole game plan in that sense. But at the end of the day, salute to all the boxers out there that we mentioned today. I don't want to criticize anybody, and I don't, these are just speculations based on what we don't know. What happens is what we do know, and Boots' performance was subpar. I think to himself, to me, it was fine. I just, like Carl said, found himself in a fight, and I think Karen came to do what he had to do. Man, Karen put on a show, and he kind of carried it and took the stardom away from Boots that night. That's what I think.
Can I add to that?
Yeah, add to that. Let me just read this real quick and then add to it. But I think this part holds a little weight and maybe might even affect whatever you're about to say. D-Town Funk, shout out to you, he's another boxing mind. I love to hear his takes. He's usually over there on Just Do's channel. Shout out to Just Do, obviously, you know what I'm saying? Always shows love. But Ant McQueen is somebody who I got a lot of respect for his takes. Thanks for showing up, King. I hope you subscribe to the channel too. D-Town Funk said Karen had no I'm gonna just short, I think you might have wrote something wrong here, but Karen had no power and Boots didn't either. They both got hit with big shots and both would not survive these punches with elite punchers. I thought that was interesting, the part about neither of them had power, because this is also what Brian Norman Sr. has been saying, that he doesn't really see the power that Boots has that much. He thinks that power can be neutralized very easily. He doesn't see Boots' power being that much of a threat based on his inability to dispatch of Karen. Now, Karen may have a good chin, or maybe Brian Norman is right, but I thought it was interesting what D-Town Funk put in there. Teach, go ahead, man. Go ahead and build what you was going to say.
Yeah. Well, to what D-Town Funk just said, I mean, we saw Boots pretty much knock down Karen. That showed he had power. We saw what Karen said at the end of the fight. If you watch a Fight Hype interview, he said Boots had power, right? You look at Boots' record and his knockouts, that shows he has power, right? So
Yeah,
I
definitely.
don't know what he's seeing. But to what Ray said, to what Rich said, again, and I said it earlier, in my opinion, like Boots struggled against Karen mainly because of the way Karen threw punches, right? The way he threw punches while moving. Like he often attacked from angles with off rhythm punches, which caught Boots off guard pretty much. Um, Brian Norman Jr. Like to me, Brian Norman Jr. doesn't have that same skill set. Like to me, he lacks the ability to move and take angles while throwing punches, which makes him more predictable, in my opinion. And I think Boots is a versatile fighter, and he doesn't have to fight Brian Norman Jr. at close range. Like he can adjust his style if he needs, and just fight him from mid range and pick him apart. So I don't think Brian Norman Jr.'s style is a problem for Boots at all, in my opinion.
Yeah, it looks like Carl wants to tap in. Go ahead, Carl.
Yeah, yeah. Everything that you said, I agree with. And plus, like, I mean, not to take nothing away from Brian Norman. Brian Norman was getting pressed out by the guy he won the belt on. I'm not gonna lie, that was a beautiful knockout. But do we really see Jerron Boots in that position? Because Brian Norman needed what's called it. He needed him to stand there, and it was off a counter. But Brian Norman is flat-footed. I don't see him dancing on his toes in the middle of the ring. I see him dancing on his toes, but not when he engaged in the fight. Like he know how to do the switch. He know how to do that. But when it's time to engage, I don't see Brian Norman. Brian Norman fight flat-footed. He walk even when he flat-footed. He not fleet-footed enough to catch Boots unless they standing there, and Boots don't need to stand there. And Boots got enough power from the outside. I want to see Brian Norman fight Karen. I know we always do that as boxer fans.
Yes,
I want to
sir.
see Brian Norman fight Karen. I think Karen would smoke Brian Norman Boots, and that's not even trying to say he booty or nothing. And I'm saying that because I don't want to curse, but you know what I mean. But I think Karen. Look, I don't think Karen said it himself. Boots is the best. Boots do hit the hardest at welterweight, and look, he went 2 fights with this guy. And lasted 12 rounds with both of them getting dropped in this one that he stepped on it. So I want to see down the test to me at welter, get past Cameron and you showing me something. Because Boots couldn't knock him out, even though Boots knocked him down, but Boots couldn't knock him out. And Boots known for knocking people out. Either Cameron got a good chin and he can fight and with good defense, or Boots just completely overrated. But come on, Boot. Cameron really just went on a 2 knockout and a win to get back in this position. That's fighting back for your position. Why would he do all that to get back in this position if he didn't believe that he can beat Boots after fighting Boots that first fight? See, Brian Norman looking at it from the outside and saying what my son could do. We gotta remember that IBF. Oh, that IBF. Yeah, he only get to come in 10
the
pounds.
rehydration clause, right?
Unification.
You get what I'm saying?
Wouldn't happen.
So to even come in this fight and put a little bit of extra mustard in to even drop Karen. Because I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna see and bet my house on Karen. But from what I see on the outside, Karen a bad boy. And that Karen is a bad man for anybody.
Yeah, I love what you said about bringing Brian Norman and Karen together. I think that would be a very interesting fight. Go ahead, Ray.
I really want to touch on what Ross Clark just said. He must be shopping at Walgreens because he said he just seen Brian Norman on the clearance shelf, which is actually pretty funny. At the end of the day, man, listen, they're all fighters. You know what I mean? Anything can happen in that square circle. That's why we watch the fights. That's what makes us fans, because we know that anything can happen. We know that any of these guys can bring their A game. One guy can come with their C game. styles make fights, guys. And when you have these styles that are certain ways, sometimes your style can be so overwhelming that you hurt yourself. And sometimes it's just your opponent just has the right style for you, such as we just seen with Karen. Karen had the right style. He did it in the first fight. I'm telling you, Carl was on fire today. I said it, Clay. We had this conversation, right? I said, "Yo, they thought he was running." I said he wasn't running. He just knew to keep his distance because he didn't want to get knocked out. But what he was doing is he was picking his shots and he was landing them with ease. He didn't, and he was hitting them with some hard shots. Then I said, in this fight, not only did he do that, he made sure that he knew he's cutting off the ring. He made sure that he engaged at a certain point. What's up? What's up?
Dan
Um,
McQueen.
Ant McQueen, what's going on,
Yeah,
brother?
yeah, yeah,
How
for
you
sure.
doing? What you doing?
I was gonna bring him
I,
in.
I
Salute.
just seen him. Look, I just seen. I was like, oh shoot, that's Ant McQueen. Yeah, absolutely.
Yo,
But
yo, Ant, are you like kind of like an unofficial co-host on Just Do channel? Pretty much like unofficial kind of, because I always see you on there. So I don't know, like, or is it just you just always on there?
Nah, man. Just whenever he drops a
Okay.
link or he
All
sends me
right.
the link, I'll go up there with him.
No doubt. I always see you building on there, but I like your take on boxing. I think you super articulate, and I like your takes, and I like that kind of stuff. That if you can't tell, that's the type of conversation I like. I don't like getting into that yelling debate. It gets crazy. I'm always tuning out. That's why I really don't watch a lot of channels.
Yeah, there's no need to
when you
scream at
speak,
each other.
I like to hear you speak on boxing, bro. I think you do a real good job at it, bro. I'm 100 with you. But
right.
but go
So-
ahead. I don't know if you're finishing, and then we can bring Ann in as well.
Absolutely. I was just saying, like to have the footwork, the guy looked like a welterweight Lomachenko, bro. He had the footwork, the angles, the pops, ins and outs, and the reason why I think he didn't get hit as hard as we thought he was with Boots, because he was able to absorb these shots coming off the return from Boots, because he was able to get in and out on those angles. When he did get in trouble, he took a knee because he had nowhere to go. He was trapped in the corner, right? Boots did the right job there, and he took a knee. That could have went very well, but what he did, he took that knee, he regrouped, and he got Boots thinking about where he was going to be next, and thinking about where he's going to land and connect the dots. And it didn't happen that way. That's why that fight looked the way it was. Like I said, like Carl said, I'm going to reiterate it. Boots was in the fight. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. And we seen him try true, and he rose to victory. So salute to both of them guys, them combatants in that ring, and shout out. What's up, Thomas?
What's up? Salute Thomas.
And remember, Clay,
Wait, Carl, hold on,
did that
Carl.
same old thing.
Wait, Carl. Carl, hold on 1 second. Just hold
Oh
that
no,
thought, please.
I wasn't going. I was just saying that. Remember that Fundora did that same old thing, took a knee.
Okay, yeah, I do remember that. Let's take it full circle back down to Ant McQueen. I want to bring him in while it's fresh on his brain to get whatever he got on his mind out, and then we can slide over to Thomas Hill in the building. Salute Thomas Hill in the building. You know what I'm saying? Let Thomas build as well. And then I don't know. I'll kind of figure out where we're gonna go after that. But go ahead, Ant.
Hey, my brother with the beanie was spot on. Like I rewatched the fight, and I watched it in half speed, which takes a very long time. You watch fights
and that's why I like Ant McQueen, because that's the type of stuff he's doing at his crib. Go ahead, fam.
That was what he said about the footwork. That was the most glaring thing that I've noticed, defensively and especially offensively. And his father was admonishing him in the 8th round. He was yelling at him. He's saying, "Stop falling in. Stop falling in." He was getting caught with a lot of counters because when he was throwing his rear hand, whether he was in southpaw or orthodox, he was reaching, throwing certain punches from too far out, not closing the distance, and then he was squaring up. His feet were parallel a lot of the times. So then Karen was able to counter him and spin out. He reach, counter him, and spin out. With Brian Norman Jr., I don't think he's got to be the most fleet of foot to be able to take advantage of that. But the thing is, will he be able to fight with a certain level of anticipation? Like knowing, like, okay, if I'm right here, all I got to do is take a step back, serve myself up, be vulnerable. Like we used to see Floyd with that pull counter. If you watch the pull counter, he'd be creeping close and close, but then he's at the optimal distance. Just watch his back foot. That's what you really got to watch, his back foot. And then he's hands down. As soon as you throw the punch, pull, boom, something's coming right back. And with Boots, with his technique, that's the most glaring thing I saw with him was his feet. And defensively, He's got the reflexes. He's got the athleticism for him to rubberneck and roll punches off. But here's the thing, like my guy was alluding to before with the footwork, with that wide base, being so stationary, there's only but so many punches you can roll off if a guy punches in combination, because at some point in time, your chin is going to be right there. Your head is going to be on the center line because you haven't changed the position. So what I would like to see selfishly from Boots is, okay, you roll off a shot, pivot off, change the position. Change the position. Because it doesn't matter how good you are at that, man. Rubbernecking, rolling shots off, something is bound to get through, especially if a guy has decent enough hand speed. You know, my favorite fight of all times is James Toney. When he fought Roy Jones cooked him because of that, because James didn't use his legs enough. It's just all this. It's okay to just change the position. Get off the line with your legs. And that's the biggest thing I seen with Boots in this fight. Is his footwork. Another thing I would like to see from him, fight with a little bit more anticipation, be able to set things up. With his attack when he's pressing forward, he's not setting things up. He's not setting traps. He's not changing levels enough. He's very reactive, but he's not proactive. He's more reactive than he is proactive.
Right.
So he's like, you're not gonna really throw too many shots. Like, all right, I'm gonna just throw this jab out here just to bait you, and then get you to just do something, and then boom, now I'm gonna counter that. But he has great reflexes, great eyes. He can see things and react. But I feel like once he starts fighting more with his mind, he's able to set things up, be more proactive. That's when he's going to go to the next level. And like what my guy said before, man, with his feet, just get back to the basics. Just get back to the basics. Work on your positioning. Work on anchoring yourself. He's just so damn light on his feet when he's throwing those power punches. Falling in, like, and I was clipping some stuff up. I gotta clip it up and upload it so you guys can see it. But yeah, falling in a lot. But I'm not sure if Brian Norman Jr. is going to be able to
take advantage or take
advantage of it. Right. Not because he got slow feet, but I just don't know if he's going to fight with a level of anticipation necessary. Because you don't necessarily got to be the fastest guy in the world. Like, look at an old George Foreman. George Foreman had great anticipation. He had great anticipation. Like the Michael Moore fight. Michael Moore's hand speed was crazy.
Right.
His speed was crazy.
But the
George
timing.
was able to time. He had good anticipation. And I'm not sure if Brian Norman Jr. possesses that to be able to take advantage of Boots. But yeah, those feet, that's going to be the key to Boots going to the next level. Just those feet, man.
I like that. I like that breakdown. And that's something I'm going to keep an eye on too. Like I said, Boots has been able to get away with things in this division. And, you know, the lack of competition as far as people not necessarily wanting to fight him like that, kind of like it kind of gave him a little bit of a disservice, built up some bad habits, some situations that were always probably there, but weren't really hurting him because he was able to compensate with his athleticism and his ability and his punching power and all that stuff. He was able to dispatch of a lot of fighters, but Karen, you know what I mean, hopefully added something. If Boots walks away with anything, I hope he walks away with some honest, you know, that he really audits what he's been doing and he's more honest with himself. You know, him and his team are honest with themselves and they walk away with the points that they need to walk away with. Same thing with Abdullah Mason as well. Early in his career, I'm happy for him that he had a fight that was able to give him the experience he had, even though he didn't walk away with a loss, but just enough to be like, all right, bro, you see, let's elevate, let's level up, let's add to what we're doing. We're getting comfortable putting people away inside of 2 to 3 rounds, but not everybody's going away in 2 to 3 rounds, and we need you to be fundamentally sound because you can get clipped and you can get sat on your pockets.
That is it, Claymore. That is it. That's what I hope that Boots walked away from this fight with. That it's okay to adhere to the fundamentals. There's nothing wrong with the fundamentals. Like, that's what Karen did. Karen put on a display of the fundamentals. You throw your shot, get the hell off the line.
Right.
You don't got to do all this and use your legs. It's okay.
Wake up.
It's okay. Keep it basic.
Hey, look, how many welterweight would you say beat Cameron if Cameron fight any other welterweight right now the way he fought Boots last night? How many other welterweight that we say beat him?
I think Karen can beat anybody in the division. He can lose too, but he definitely showed he's formidable.
He was taking risks with Boots. Not only because he's been in there one time with him before, he believed that when I swing, I'm going to touch him. He believed in himself. That was a fight that we can say that Karen fought in believing in himself, and he wasn't scared. He was ready to go out on his shield if he had to.
All right, no
Yep.
doubt, Carl. What Ray? Go ahead, but like wrap it up
Yeah,
quick. 'Cause
yeah,
I
yeah.
want to get down to
Yeah, I know. I
Thomas
want to
Hill.
get Thomas. Right, right. So yeah, no, I was going to say that exactly what you guys were talking about was really good conversations. I thought that that if Boots goes forward or anyone goes forward, we need to just look at the aspect of like you said, the footwork. Footwork is key. It is manageable. It will keep you off your line, and it will allow you. And I think we all touched on it. You know what I mean? Not get caught and shuffle, your feet getting crossed. You know what I mean? It was more so his feet getting crossed a lot in that fight, and I touched on that earlier. But go ahead, Thomas. I did have something else to say, but I'll wait on it. Go ahead. You're on
Thomas, you're
mute.
mute. You're mute. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
There you
gonna
go.
say what you got to say. I'm here for the ride. I know what I'm gonna say. Plus, pretty much everything I said been highlighted by 4 different people. So go on and finish your thought, bro.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Go ahead.
Well, basically, if that's the case, Echo, spot on. Ant, spot on. Carl made a very great point, and so have you guys as well, too, as far as the commentary off of their points. Bottom line is, man, it's boxing. It's boxing. And sometimes we just physically better than the person that we get in the ring with. To this point, people hated on Kukadajian for his first fight. Me and Ant, we broke it down. By the way, I'm the co-host to Ant McQueen at the
Okay.
Casual Corner. I want to make sure we plug
Ant,
in the
you got a
Casual
channel?
Corner where you could find. Yeah, we got 4 people: me, Ant McQueen, Pound for Pound Boxing, and my man who got hands. My man Angelo. So we usually break it. We haven't 4 gotten together in a minute, but we do breakdowns of fights and things like that. And
I just
we
subscribed.
went over the Boots fight extensively because a lot of people said he was running. I never thought he was running. It looked like he was boxing. He was doing an excellent job using his feet and his angles. And to the contrary, Boots looking to outshine the moment because he was on the card with Tank. He wanted to be the superstar of superstars. He wasn't following fundamentals. So the key point is fundamentals. You gotta stick to that because the greatest footwork that I've seen personally in a fighter that I've seen in my time now, I've seen some fighters on film too, but film has a way of looking, especially when it's way back in the day, than it does live and live in color. Hell, even when I was a child, to the color aspect and the look of the TV, it's much more crisp and clean now than it was when I was a child. So it always gives a different playback on film when it's old. But I saw Pernell Whitaker and I seen the transition, the seamless transition on both offensive footwork and defensive footwork, because you got to have a scope on both. And I thought that Pernell exemplified how you to transition from offense to defense and likewise defense to offense without crossing yourself up and with putting your opponent in a position where they can be taken advantage of. And Karen Kukadadjian, no matter what people say, man, he's from a Russian school of boxing. He's in Ukraine. You know, there's nothing but polished fighters there. They may not be blessed with tremendous talent, but their polish is so damn good it make them shoes shine. And he in that ring, he's shining in that ring because he's got wherewithal of how to not get hit and how to do some hitting. He did that in the first fight. So we have to credit Karen Kukadjian because the man was there to fight and he came to win. He came to win and he did everything he possibly could do to win. He put Boots in a era of uncomfortability and or I should say. And Boots responded well too. Now, does Boots gotta adhere to fundamentals? Does Boots gotta listen to his corner? Yeah, because his dad was giving him hell of advisement. Things that if he would have took to heart, he probably would have made a difference. But you know, to slam him, to say that he's not a good fighter and all these other things that are coming out not by you guys, but just on general, that's a gross mistake. Now, the gross mistake by him would be to not take a learning lesson from this match, to not say, "Oh, well, there's some things I really need to adhere and there's some things that I need to work on." But if anyone saw the fight with Karen Kukadjian because he's Kukadjian and think that he's Charmin,
Huh?
I want them to make the fight.
Exactly.
I guarantee you to see that toilet tissue wipe different when it's in the ring. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, if Norman want to be the one to show him that he's a fraud, that he got grown man strength, and that his punches are quicker to the punch, get in the ring, man. Because I want to see the fight. I want to see him show the world that what I said was true. And the reason why they didn't want to give me that money because they knew they were going to lose the fight. Make it happen. Because we need the fights. And, I mean, I want to just make sure that Karen gets the credit. I want to make sure that Boots, he deserves a little bit of pushback because, you know, he was talking like he was talking. He was talking heavy, and it didn't happen. But the object always is to win the fight. And he went in there and he definitely completed the objective. So
no doubt. And
Let me jump in, Clay.
Wait, one second, too, Rich. I subscribed to your channel, and yeah, I went to your link, and I guess it took me to your personal thing. But I just put the link in there for the actual channel, the Casual Corner.
That's just we not paying, man, because we be playing full fights on there.
Right. I got you.
A whole bunch of times, but I don't care, man.
No, it's all good. Nah, man. I want to help spread the people who support World Championship Boxing, bro. I mean, I'm hoping that we can move that need a little bit and just get the space more open to talk about all fights and not just represent one fighter and one promoter. You know what I mean? There's so much boxing going on. That's all. And so I appreciate.
Let me say one thing before I hop. I'm looking at Boots at Saturday night. I got a feeling that might be the last time we see him at welterweight because there's really nothing there for welterweight. He already asked Norman Jr. He turned that fight down. The big money is at 154, and he's always been a big welterweight. Even when he came into the game, I think he can put a little bit more, a few more pounds on him. Maybe get a little bit stronger and make the big money up there, man. I mean, you could throw a dartboard at any of those names at 154, and he'd make the six figures. But you look down at 147. And they're either tied up or they're not worth fighting. And I think he'd be wasting his time. I think 154 is where we're going to see Jaron Boots Ennis. But anyway, guys, and what I said before, man, the fight that I want to see is Ennis and oh shit, man, Virgil, Ennis and Virgil, man. I think this is the fight that we're going to see, the big fight at 154. But anyway, guys,
no, Bruce, before you go. And Ray, I don't mean to, and Clay, I don't mean to butt in, but I want to shout out Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, my main man Echo, and Ann McQueen. 3 brilliant boxing minds on this panel, man. You got to give love to where love is due. Also, if you guys come over to the Casual Corner, that link is always available to you. You can always come up and build with us. And shout out to my main man Bruce Gas. Tremendous brother.
Much love to everybody. Peace.
All right, Bruce.
Take care, Bruce.
All right, Too Rich was going to tap in.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna say a couple things. I'm gonna have to get out of here, man. Just for me breaking down the tape because I got a couple videos coming out. It's not what I describe Boots as when it comes to his power. He has "I'm bigger than you" power. You see what I mean? So if you look at his knockdowns, you're going to see a lot of knockdown. I mean, because he's so predictable. He's going to take like Echo say, going to take a big step in. He's going to plant that foot to let that right hook go to the body and then to the head. So he gets a lot of knockouts with him thumping off the top of their heads. You see what I mean? But what we don't see is clean to the chin knockouts because Boots smother his punches. So it's not about whether he has power. It's can he deliver the power. So if he steps in with that big step, get ready to swing that hook to the body, what happens when the fighter take a step to the right? Boots is out of place. Step to the right, counter him. He's out of place. He's stuck in the mud. So it's not about him not having power, but can he deliver the power? We saw a lot of arm punches with Karen. We saw a lot of arm punches. Like he wasn't planted for those punches. So they were going to come off. Karen really didn't, like how you would think Boots would have hurt Karen. He really didn't get hurt. He was getting hit flush and he wasn't getting hurt. Because I just think Boots' feet wasn't planted right. He just don't have the footwork for a moving fighter. Now, if you're going to sit there and stand on the ropes and cover up and just stand on the ropes and let him beat on you, of course he got power. But if you got a
Can I
little
say something on
movement,
top of that?
go ahead.
Well,
Well, let me finish right quick. Let me just finish
Yeah,
the
yeah,
last.
come on,
finish.
Monty. Let him
Finish.
finish.
Yeah,
That way, don't. Yeah.
that's all I got to say about the power. Just more so, can he land? Ask yourself this: is Karen the best boxer? He's good. He did a very good job. He's a good boxer, but is he the best boxer? The level gets harder. It gets harder. He has to fix those issues. Now, my last thing, just give you an example of an adjustment. Now, Echo can probably kind of correct me if I'm wrong a little bit. He better with the history than me. But I just remember seeing clips of Floyd Mayweather. And you got to remember, Floyd was coming up. Floyd Mayweather Sr. was the trainer. Floyd Mayweather Sr. got locked up. So Roger Mayweather started training Floyd. Floyd was pretty boy. He was knocking dudes out. At one point in time, he had 14 or 17 knockouts. And Floyd was susceptible to getting cut. He was getting cut bad in those fights. When Floyd Mayweather Sr. got out of jail, he said, what the fuck is going on? He never got cut like that with me. So Floyd Mayweather Sr. came back in, adjusted Floyd's style. That was an adjustment to bring him back to the defense. And that's where we get the moniker, make him miss, make him pay. So Boots can make that same adjustment. Find the defense that allow you to deliver offense, but you can't walk in there with your head in the air on the line thinking these guys can't hurt you. And that's all I got, man. Shout out Clay, Ray, and the panel, man. I'm gonna still be listening in, but I got to drive. I'm on my way to work.
Too rich. Before
All
you
right.
go, bro, you was
Uh-huh.
spot on. Nobody said that you was
Look, I
wrong
was
with
just
you.
about to
Yo.
say
You
that.
spot on. Yeah, you
I
spot on.
appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Shout
I'm gonna
out to you,
follow. I
Rich.
heard Casual Corner Bruce, but I'm gonna follow. I'm gonna subscribe to everybody's channel when I get off here.
No doubt.
All
The
right,
links are going
that's
to be
what's
in the
up.
chat.
Okay.
But
I
too
want to
rich,
take a moment. Well, hold on. I want to take a moment to
too
shout out
rich.
to the panel for sure. I love these kind of panels. They're not easy to come by. Trust me, I know, because you get a lot of nonsense that comes up here that you end up having to sift through, and then we always end up. I'd rather have what they say. Of the comedian Joe Diaz said, everybody wants an army. I don't need an army. Give me 10 bad motherfuckers, and we're taking over a whole entire country. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it comes down to the quality is always better than the quantity. I appreciate the level of IQ and scholarship that's on this panel right now. I want to take a moment to organize it a little bit because I know Carl was trying to get in. It sounded like Ray was trying to get in. So let's let I want to bring it full circle. Let's Carl, go ahead, get what you had on your mind out, bring in the Ray Davis, and I can always tell. I know when Echo kind of gets closer to the camera, it's about that time, and he's getting a little closer. He's inching closer to the camera. He keeps inching closer to the camera, so I know what time it is. So go ahead, Carl. Go ahead real quick.
No, I just wanted to tell I just wanted to disagree a little bit with Too Rich when he said that Cameron wasn't sitting down on his punches. Nah, Cameron was fighting. Cameron is the reason why Boots was fighting the way he was fighting. Like Cameron is a fighter. Like we not gonna see and say Cameron was like basically throwing arm punches. Cameron was trying to knock Boots out. When he caught Boots with that left, he really believed in his heart that he hurted Boots. But when he seen that Boots, because look, you see, he stopped in mid, because he was about to run down on Boots. He stopped when he realized that Boots turned around and Boots was okay. It was just a good shot. But every shot that Cameron threw, especially that left hook, he was trying to hurt Boots. I believe that Cameron, he gave it what he had against Boots' style and his style. That's the best Cameron you're going to get. I don't think it's going to get any better than that. Cameron, unless Cameron goes to the body a little bit more. But Cameron was really trying to knock Boots out. I don't want to take that away from Cameron. That's all.
No doubt. Go ahead, Ray.
Listen, you can let Echo go, or I can actually let me chime in real quick. I was going to say, you know what? Here's what we got. At the end of the day, we got to stop taking the credit away from Karen, which everybody on this panel has already acknowledged, and they are doing. We have to understand that Boots came in there, he got into a fight, and that's what it was. We also have to understand that these Eastern European boxers are the kryptonite to slick Black American fighters. They are the kryptonite. They've been like this since the Klitschko's, man. It's tough. We have to make the adjustments on our end. To tap into on what Aunt McQueen was saying earlier is the McCauley situation with Jared Anderson. Perfect example of you don't have to have speed to combat somebody with skill. He sat there. He was able to land his punches efficiently. He didn't look like he was trying to outbox him or anything like that. He just timed him well and he got his shots in. So all those things make sense. I just want to say shout out to these guys in the welterweight division. Whoever's up next, let's see somebody get in the ring with Karen and prove us wrong. Let's see a David Ebenezer get in the ring with one of these guys and prove us wrong. Because I think we do have good, legitimate talent over there that are fighting on these cards, and no one else is fighting them. No one else is fighting them. They're fighting like these guys that already have three losses from Tijuana or Canada or backyard of Las Vegas. They're fighting these same guys, and they're just in rotation. We want to see the big fights. We want to see these fights. And there's even a couple guys in England. I know, Echo, I see them out there. I see a couple of welterweights you got out there. But yeah, let's see all these guys tangle it up, man. Let's see what the business is like. Boots needs to focus on repairing the damage he had. Like I said, it was nothing severe, but it's just the little things that he went in with, trying to close the chapter on Karen and keep that fight close so he can cut off the ring. And Karen welcomed that with open arms and bet on himself to use angles to pop them shots. And that was the end game. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? It looked bad for Boots, but Boots did the right thing and he won the fight. So, salute to both of them guys.
I wanna take some time to I think Roscott might be back too, because I see something weird Karen mad at. It sounds like something Roscott would say. Is that Roscott?
Yeah, what's up? Salute.
Okay, because the icon ain't there. I want to bring in Echo. I want to bring Echo in as well to build in Coach Eddie. I don't think I'm familiar with you, Coach Eddie, but I'm definitely super intrigued to find out what you're going to do.
Eddie, legit.
No doubt.
Yeah, shout out to Coach Eddie. Coach Eddie is that guy, man.
Oh, no doubt. I'm happy to hear. We got
salute, brother. This is my first time on the panel, brother. I'm just listening in. I don't want to interrupt nobody. I just fall in, get in where I can fit in when I get a chance.
No, we'll get you right around. We'll get right to you right after Echo. I definitely want to hear your take. So get ready. You're about there. Echo.
Yeah, I mean, when Boots punched, I watched him when he did that slow motion thing. When he was like moving in slow motion, but he threw a right hand, and he was leaning in really with the right hand. His head was way over his toes, and that's a no-no really for a guy that's a really good counter puncher. Somebody like Crawford would take advantage of that for sure. And also, when you're moving side to side, you've got to make sure that your head is not on the outside of your foot. In other words, so you're not leaning over too far. And that's why he was losing his balance a lot in this fight. It was just moving too much sometimes. But also, as you addressed earlier, Clay, about we don't really know if he was injured or he had a bad weight cut. We don't know, because I've fought 4 times with injuries and you can't fight the same. I won 3, but I didn't win one of them. But nobody knew, and if he's not going to talk about it, we don't really know. I'm not making excuses for him, but we don't know how his weight cut went. He could have lost weight, really struggled to lose the weight as well. Or maybe started camp too late, and not got his diet properly. Could have been a load of reasons. We just don't know. But I mean, there's so many ways, that he can improve though, for sure. And that would be for the footwork, for the back foot. The back foot is the key. Back foot is the key to defense. And the front foot, that is the key to attack. But also you've got to move the back foot in with the front foot. Like I said, if you take 2 inches or 3 inches with the front foot, your back foot's got to move in as well. So she's leaning in and reaching. And this is what Devin Haney does sometimes when he throws punches. When he throws his body shots, he steps too wide. And a good counter puncher will make him pay for that. And also, I really believe that it would be better if he used more feints and feinted off line and came in with a punch and varied the length of the feint, because he's got so much talent and he's very athletic, but he's not making that athleticism work for him. That's why he's getting caught. And it's not It's not just knowing how to punch. It's knowing when to punch and why you punch, and knowing what to throw, when to throw, and why you're going to throw it. The why and the when must necessitate the how. And he's not punching correctly. True. That's why his punches are more thudding and they're not shortened. If you pull your punch in, you're gonna have more snap on your punch. It's what they call the conservation of angular momentum. So therefore you're gonna shorten the arc like Sugar Ray Robinson used to do. He used to throw wide punches but then pull them in at the last second. And that increased the speed and the velocity of the punch and also the power. There's two different kinds of power. There's thudding power and there's more explosive, a bit more like Sugar Ray Leonard, what he used to do.
No doubt.
So I believe he needs to change a few things.
No doubt. No doubt. Salute to you, Echo. Thanks for offering the scholarship. We're going to go ahead and bring in Coach Eddie in and let him build as well. And then I'm going to be real with you guys. I'm going to go full around the room and let everybody get like 2 minutes in to kind of like close out because it's about that time. I've been on for a while and I want to do things. I still got to go on later with Blue Blood. So I definitely want to give everybody an opportunity. But I want to hear Coach Eddie, man. Coach Eddie, what do you got to offer the space, man?
Oh yeah, for sure. I appreciate you having me up. Hopefully I'll be back. Whenever
I hope so too. For sure.
Yes, sir. It's good. I've been hearing a lot of talking about X's and O's, and yes, that is a part of the boxing. You know, the technique, the fundamentals, the mistakes that were made. But it's also you got to keep in mind that boxing is a poor man's sport. And what I seen from Karen, Muhammad Ali said it best. He said, when you fighting a man that got God and country in mind, that's a hard man to beat. The man had God on his mind and he had his country on his mind. He told Ukraine in that ring with him, he was not going to go out easy. You know, he had his whole country behind him. He put that on his back. Sometimes you got to find something to fight for. Boots had nothing to fight for. Boots just thought it was a script. Hey, look, here's the script, Karen. Come out here and lay down before the 7th round because I'm the star. Karen didn't get the memo. Karen said, I'm fighting for Ukraine. I'm going to go out here and do the best that I can. I'm going to try to knock this kid out. Plus, I already been in the ring with you already. That's another plus. I know you now. Yeah, you're strong, but I think I worked on a few things and I can try to deal with you and I can try to hit you because you do have flaws. Boots has some defensive flaws that he's been able to get away with because of the people he's been fighting. Another thing, Karen is probably a little bit better than we thought he was. I mean, think about it. You can't knock out everybody. Muhammad Ali struggled with Oscar Bonavena. He was Argentina. What? Oscar Bonavena, who is he? That's somebody that Muhammad Ali struggled with. He won the fight, but it wasn't easy. George Foreman struggled with Ron Lau. Who's Ron Lau? A guy that almost destroyed George Foreman in a 5-round slugfest. So a lot of times we look at the name guys and just think, oh, we don't know this guy, he's no good, and that just wasn't the case. I think Karen came, he was very determined to do his best. I think he came to win the fight. I think he came to upset, and a lot of times these guys, you got to remember when these guys are they're fighting for their life. I mean, cause I used to fight for amateur and professional. That day before the fight, you know that you can die. You're literally fighting for your life. This dude could really come to kill you if you really want to. I mean, not intentionally, but that is a possibility that you can die in that ring. So that guy was literally in there fighting for his life, trying to defend himself the best that he could and fight Boots off of him. That's why you got such a determined fight. So I think it was a determination factor that was in there. That a lot of times that doesn't show up on the X's and O's. That doesn't show up, in the tell of the tape. The determination, the will, the desire, all those intangible. What are you fighting for? Like I say, and Roy Jones said it best. Sometimes you don't get up for guys, and sometimes that's a big mistake. And I hopefully Boots learn from this that, hey, man, you can have a slip up. You got to treat everybody as though they're coming to get you. Because when you fighting the A-class fighter, you want to knock that guy off because that's going to change your life. Karen's life been changed now. He's going to get bigger paydays now. He's going to get more opportunities. I mean, even I'm gonna land my plane. Ken Norton, when he fought Muhammad Ali the first time, it's a documentary called Facing Ali. Y'all should check it out if you've never seen it before. Ken Norton talked about just making a good showing against Muhammad Ali would mean that his life for him and his children would be better. So he didn't necessarily come in to win the fight. He just wanted to make a good showing. And he just happened to win the fight because Ken Norton kind of had Muhammad Ali's number. They could fight 10 times. It would be a close fight all 10 times because certain styles just give you problems. And maybe if Boots and Karen were to fight 10 times, we might have a similar outcome 10 times. This guy just might have Boots' number. Not necessarily to beat him, but Boots is not going to look good against him. Just like Mayorga, he had Vernon Forrest's number. Vernon Forrest had Shane Mosley's number. Some styles, guys just got your number. And no matter how many times you fight them, it's going to be a similar outcome no matter what. But yeah, that's just wanted to add that in there.
Hey, Clay, can I pick up on that?
Yeah, go ahead, Ross. I forgot Ross was in here. Yeah, after Ross, we'll go around. Yeah.
Just super quick, Kiss. I agree with everything he said. And at the end of the day, we live in a era where the fans aren't used to seeing competitive fights versus someone that we never heard of. This is why everybody was so shocked at Madrimov versus Terrence Crawford, or you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like everybody this is why I use the term bum, right? Like I joke around with the term bum because everyone is not watching every single boxer. And I know we can't. That's why you can't underestimate these guys. Like Karen did everyone. I heard someone say in another panel, not on this one, where they was like, Karen is a nobody. Karen is a nobody. There's a whole lot of nobodies throughout history that got Hall of Fame fighters on their resume that they beat. So at the end of the day, guys, this is boxing. It's going to be competitive fights, whether you know the person or not, because we've seen top quality opponents, big names fight each other, and the fight is crap. The fight is garbage. When we see a top name fight somebody that we don't know, sometimes we see a hell of a fight. So
Ross connection went a little bad.
I agree with him, man. Coach Eddie, you just had to rip the scab
poor
off.
Stevenson, and not just Canelo. Once you start watching more fights, you'll see that there's a lot of talent out there. It's not just the big names. That's all I got to say.
No doubt. I'm gonna let Ant build a little bit. And by the way, the scholarship is high level today, man. I don't know if it's gonna happen again. So I'm living in this moment right now. These conversations are awesome once again because you just get better. You just get smarter. You get perspective. You get things that you didn't even think about. Like, damn, you know what? And we can approach and start to. And what comes out at the end for me is just respect these fighters and respect the game, man. And we don't throw these fighters out just because they make mistakes. We watch them make improvements. They make mistakes in certain fights, and we look to the next fight to see them get better. And then we celebrate them because we're like, damn, he closed that up. It's going to be a problem again. So shout out to everybody on the panel. I'm going to let Ant McQueen go at it, and then I'm going to put the clock on y'all. Matter of fact, I'm going to start with Ant. I'm going to put the clock on you, Ant. A minute and 30 seconds. A minute and 30 seconds. I'm going to give everybody just building, and we'll keep it moving.
Coach Eddie ripped the scab off with the Shane Mosley. I was a big Shane Mosley guy, too, man. I just had a flashback of him getting cleaned up by Vernon Forrest in that first fight, especially. I thought that he and Echo, they made fantastic points, especially about the condition that a fighter comes into the ring in. This is not like any other sport like basketball or tennis where it's just all completely skill. Like boxing is volatile. So many guys, they can get damaged just in sparring. I was just watching a video of Roy Jones the other day, and he was talking about, I think it was Jimmy Young or Jimmy Ellis, one of them guys. And he was saying that he was damaged from sparring Joe Frazier pretty much every day. He said he suffered more damage in sparring than he did in professional fights. And then it happens, like Chad Dawson going into that fight with Andre Ward. He was actually concussed going into that fight because he got knocked out of sparring by Edison Miranda. So you never know what condition these guys are going into a fight in, whether they're having a bad weight cut or they had some sort of mishap in training. Sometimes guys might sustain an injury while they're training, but then they can't get their conditioning right. Most recently, what's my guy's name? Jermaine Ortiz. When he fought against Antonio Moran, he suffered an injury while he was in training. So he couldn't run and do the things necessary to get his conditioning right. So he had to cram like once he got back healthy. When he came into that fight, he was
That
struggling with
time.
his weight a little bit.
That time. I appreciate you, and thank you, man. Let's bring it full circle to well, let Carl. You got a minute 30, man. You right next to him, so let's do it for Carl, bro. Go ahead, brother.
All right. First I want to ask the panel, like, how y'all feel about, like, should the IBF get rid of that 10-pound weight clause? Like, cause no other sanction got it going on. I'm just saying, would it be a bad thing to get rid of it?
No, heck no. Leave it that way.
No, they should keep it. Leave it. But go ahead, Bill.
I mean, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I'm just gonna basically repeat the way I started off, man. I just think that Karen is just way better than people thought he was. You know what I mean? And like a lot of us seen it, because I heard a lot of us on here say we seen it in the first fight. We were just wondering why Karen didn't step to him. You know what I mean? Boots didn't look bad. Boots just in the fight. Boots, if anything, Karen may help Boots out, because they say great fighters, you always learn something every time you go into a fight, right? Like, you come out and you learn something. Y'all don't think that Boots gonna go back and say, dang, I got hit with quite a lot of left hooks. And if this guy probably had some real stinging on his punches, like, he probably could have did some damage to me. Like, I just think with Boots being athletic the way he is, we gonna see a sharper Boots the next fight anyway. And I think that Boots gonna try to, from what I see, I could be wrong, though.
No doubt. That was a minute 30, brother. That was a minute 30. I'm gonna move on because I got stuff to do. Let's move on to let's move on to Thomas Hill. Thomas Hill, if you want to put a closing statement out there.
Yeah, I got a closing
statement. But y'all, I'm gonna check you later, though.
All right, Carl. Go ahead, Thomas.
Check you later, man. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to boxing, man. Keep everything in respect of the sport. Let's not dumb by this. Let's not piggyback off of nonsense, and let's support one another. Let's see the fights and let's watch them play out. Also, if you get a chance, man, watch fights at half speed to change your mind on a lot of things you thought would be true. And also, man, shout out to Boots, shout out to Karen, shout out to Keyshawn, shout out to all those who participated in fights this weekend and triumphed, and some that didn't win. Appreciate the effort, appreciate the entertainment, and appreciate the craft, man. Everybody have a blessed day.
Man, salute to you, Thomas. I'll co-sign everything you said, man, for sure. Let me see here. Let's go with Roscott. Roscott, you don't plan on saying nothing, do you? You want to say something closing? Minute 30?
Oh yeah, no, man. Thanks for having me on, man. This was like a world this was like, what you call that? This was like the all-star panel today, man. We had some hitters on here, and some of y'all I never heard of, and hey, y'all was speaking some good boxing. So I take my hat off to every single person that was on here talking, man. It's always a pleasure to have Ray Davis on, because you know he got the job, so I don't get to see him on here that much. So it's great, man. This was a good show. Salute.
Thank you. Amen to that, bro. For real, man. Salute to you, King. Thank you for stopping by. As always, Roscott. I don't know what happened to your icon today, man. Maybe you get it fixed up next time, so I know when you're coming in. But now I know just to look at the crazy name. As soon as I see the crazy name, I know it's you. So that's another way I identify you now, man. Salute to you, King.
For sure.
Coach Eddie, do you want to share something with the space? Close it out with anything?
Yeah, I'd go ahead. Yeah, I just want to say thanks for coming up. First of all, salute to the panel. And I just wish these young fighters don't fall victim to the Mayweather, after the Mayweather era, you know, just getting stuck in that shoulder roll or just trying to stand there with your feet nailed to the ground thinking you're going to be able to dodge bullets all the time. That's why a lot of our quote unquote black fighters, they losing right now because of that from that lead hand down is killing them. And we can go through our Rolodex, our mental Rolodex, and we can probably name them all on two hands. Just in the past 2 or 3 years, Abdullah Mason almost fell victim. You know, Muhammad Ali got a lot of guys messed up because they tried to emulate him. Floyd Mayweather Got a lot of guys messed up. Not him personally, but they tried to emulate what Floyd did and couldn't do it, and it cost them. You know, they got knocked out, they got setback, they got losses. So they need to get back to the old school. A moving target's hard to hit. That's true. That's a factual. Get up on your toes, get back to boxing, go back and, you know, take some from the old school fighters, go watch some black and white fighters, get off the mitts all the time, stop being a mitt warrior, and get back to boxing.
Salute to you, Coach A. Thank you. And Coach Eddie, you always, if you ever see hit the notification. I don't know if you subscribe to the channel or not, but you should, by the way, and hit the notification whenever we pop up, man. You always welcome to come up here and build, man. I love hear the scholarship, man. I appreciate you. Thank you, brother.
All right, salute, brother. Thank you, brother. Listen.
Yep. We're gonna go ahead and move on to Echo and let Echo put the closing, and then we'll go to Ray Davis, and then I'll say something nice to all of y'all, and then we out of here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just going to say something different to everybody because Boots was you're only as good as your last fight, you know. And many times a lot of boxers have lost or had hard fights. I mean, you've only got to go back in history and see all the fights that were really tough on the first time. Maybe the second time was they had a wake-up call. I mean, Duran had a wake-up call when he fought Esteban de Jesus in 1972. That was on, you know, that was his first loss. That was in November 17th. Then he fought him again.
He dropped him too, Echo. He dropped him too.
He did. But then he fought him in 74, and that was March 16th, and he got dropped again. And he won that fight. Then he fought him in 78, which was January 21st, and he won by knockout in that fight. Same as Joe Louis. He lost to Max Schmeling in 1936. He did. So there's all the, and when he actually lost and he won the title again in 1938. He said, I don't feel like I'm a world champion until I beat Schmeling. And he fought him again, 22nd of June, 1938. And then he knocked him out in that famous fight where they cut off the cameras. But he had to prove himself. And a lot of boxers, they feel that they can go in there and just do what they want to do. They just think, I'm going to just train and I'm just going to beat that guy up. And so many boxers in history have found out that you can't do that.
Yeah. Styles make fights, baby. Styles make fights, exactly. Man. You
and
gotta be ready.
History speaks a lot. You know what I mean? There's a reason why things have happened. You know, and you don't have to keep looking back all the time, but just look back, and just see what happened before, at least a bit, and you can see there's no guarantee of winning or knocking anybody out.
No doubt, Echo. Yo, Echo is passionate. I don't know if anybody noticed, but Echo is extra passionate today. I think the panel was awesome, man. I think, you know what I mean? It's like some panels just make you step up and want to get involved in the conversation. And I love when the scholars, you know what I'm saying, get inspired and want to participate and have so much to share, man. I appreciate you being on the panel as always, Echo. And Echo, you've been a little bit more regular, man. I appreciate you because it's been kind of hard to get. I think this daytime hour, I think it's a good time right here. I think this is your window right here. Is
7
that what it
p.m.
is?
now. It's 7 p.m. here now.
Yeah, so this is your window right here. We working on something here. We on to something here. Ray Davis, go ahead. Close it out for us, brother, and then I'll go ahead and close it out as well.
I just want to say one thing. You're doing a great job, Clay. You and Ray are doing a great job, and you're keeping it, you know, neutral as well, and not this bullshit about, you know, fanboying.
Yeah, I appreciate you. That means a lot.
For real.
Thank you.
You really are. I mean, this is what you need to be, you know, tell the truth. You know what I mean? Even if it hurts people's feelings.
Right.
Because some people need to know these things. And if people think Tank can't be beaten, they're crazy.
They're going to find out, I think, man, if sooner rather than later, depending on when these matches come out. I'm not wishing him anything, but I'm just saying.
No,
I
agree. He's a very good fighter. But to say that he's a great fighter, no, he's not a great fighter because his career's not over, and he'll be judged when he's finished it.
Right.
By who he fights and how he wins and how he overcomes adversity.
Mm-hmm.
The greatest victory is not ever falling, but rising every time you fall. Famous quote from Napoleon. Anyway, I'm going to go now. I'll see you guys soon, and great show.
Man, salute to you,
Echo.
Echo, man. See you tomorrow, by the way. We'll be on tomorrow morning.
I'll definitely come on tomorrow. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Salute to you. Catch us on
All
Blue
right,
Blood a little bit later too as well.
Are you
All
on Bluebird tonight?
Yeah, I co-host Blue Blood on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, so I'm just regularly up there.
Is Rascott still there?
Ross Scott is always still here. He don't leave until we close. He always closes the club with us, bro. He closes the club down. The lights on.
Take it easy.
He helps clean up a little bit, the bottles and
Salute
stuff.
you guys. Salute Echo, Ray Davis, Clay. Salute y'all.
All right. Peace. Yes. And shout out to Free Smoke for the super chat. You know what I mean? Y'all see Andy Cruz posted 4-0 in these pros, 4-0 against my son. Wow.
Hey, man.
Okay.
Andy's supposed to do that. Shout out to Andy Cruz, bro.
Right.
Yeah,
When
the guy you're
that's
lined
part
up
of my
with, that
statement.
when everybody wants to see you fight that guy, and you have that kind of that leverage on him from what you guys did in the amateurs, you can't let Keyshawn shine like that and not jump in on that algorithm and let everybody know that you're in the building. That's what you're supposed to do. Shout out to Andy Cruz, bro.
Absolutely. I second that notion. First of all, I want to give big thanks to everybody that showed up in the chat. Too Rich, Echo, Thomas Hill, Ant McQueen, Ross Clott, Coach Eddie, Teach, Carl Brown. And if I miss anybody, let me know. Also want to just say, it's been a great time talking today, Clay. The integrity of boxing is what it's all about. Keeping it there and keeping the spirit alive of boxing, is what it's all about. First accepting that these guys are true warriors and these guys are combatants. When these guys go to training, they have dreams, they have ambitions, they have goals. Whether it is chasing money, whether it is becoming a star, whether it is becoming the top of the pinnacle, this is what these guys want. This is what these guys push for. And we as fans see them and they start to shine. We grow into liking them as boxing fans, and we start supporting them. And as we support these fighters, it doesn't matter what neck of the woods you're from, what corner, what block, what stone you turn. We start seeing these fighters. We start sticking with them because those are guys that spark our interest. And when we see that, we support them. And going forward, we like to see these guys all fight each other. We like to see these chapters close. I mean, we're reading on these books that are just endless chapters, and we like to see them close. We like to see the big matches. We like to see the doubters and the questions answered. I just want to say I appreciate boxing, man. At the end of the day, I appreciate what we got on this panel today, and I appreciate everything that comes with it. I also want to give a shout out to Boxing Hacker if he's still there. If he wants to put it in the chat, he did leave us a super chat before we had the technical issue. But if he's not, it is what it is. But yeah, I would definitely like to read that super chat, even though we didn't get it earlier. He could just type it in the chat if he's still around. Clay, great day, great show. As usual, my pleasure always being your co-host, and salute, man. Thank you.
No doubt. Salute to everybody in the building, man. Appreciate you guys coming out. We had some technical difficulties earlier. We were really cooking. Had about like over 50 people in the chat, and then the StreamYard or YouTube or somebody or some powers that be got in the middle and stopped that up. But we kicked it up the next one, and I really appreciated the panel that hopped up on the sequel to the first episode or whatever you want to call it. It was great. Listen, man, boxing is about consistency. We want to be consistent here, obviously, but these fighters have to be consistent in what they're doing because we're creatures of habits. What we do most of the time is what we do all the time. Got to build those good habits up. And I think this weekend, some people got to see that. Abdullah Mason got to see that he needs to build the best habits up. Boots got to see that he got to build the best habits up. Somebody earlier said that that Boots is fighting the fighters he's fighting and maybe has disregarded defense a little bit with David Avanesian and the things that he did. And I think that's part of the consistency, right? I think disregard of defense is equivalent to lack of defense. Maybe not ability to be defensive, but lack of defense. And you should always be on point. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. And we're going to cover it all here on the ATP Combat Media Show. I appreciate all you guys. Please make sure that you hit the likes on here. If you're not subscribed to the channel, I always encourage you guys to make sure that you are subscribed. to the channel. Hit the bell icons so that you are getting alerts whenever we do drop this content. You guys see what the hours is now. Monday night, usually we try to do an evening. Last night, I didn't come home till late. Work just ended up dragging. But Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we'll be showing out 10:30. I'm trying to really be at 10 o'clock in the mornings of time, but no later than 10:30, we'll be kicking off these lives Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Catch me during the day as well with Blue Blood Sports, usually between 3:30, 4:30. We kick that off. You guys know what Blue Blood's doing. I'm always co-hosting on there. And at this point, much love to you guys. But until next episode, we're out. Oh, let me put there we go. To you guys.
They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, yeah. I had to elevate. I'm way up, way too fly, yeah, I'm feeling myself. Ain't no chance I'm coming down, no. Got a soul view to myself, yeah. Why would I give it up? Why do they wanna come take my place? I work too hard for it, don't need a replacement. This my vocation, now I got rollies all in rotation. Hop on a jet just to take a vacation. Remember the moments was trapped in the basement. Now the hard work is all taking me places. Swatting all black like we trapped in the matrix. Bet on myself and go ball out in Vegas. Living a life like I'm rich and I'm famous. Don't see the grind that I know that it came with.